I'll be testing everything interesting about termites, even putting them against a mini wood house to see if they'll eat straight through it.
Yeah, should be fun. Now, before we get to the house, I first want to show you guys how termites build their nests, because termites seriously build some of the craziest homes in the animal kingdom. And they build them quickly. Let me show you by dumping these guys in.
Now, instantly after dumping in the termites, you can see just how many there actually was here, just absolutely swarming in this single area. But you could quickly see how multiple started to gather up in this back area near the exposed dirt. You see, I've set up this container to have a thin layer of soil pressed up against this glass floor. And this gap here lets termites squeeze underneath to start digging, meaning we're gonna get to see them dig their intricate tunnels from above. It's a slow process that only works because of the sheer amount of termites, because while a single termite is super small, there are over 1,000 termites right here, meaning work gets done pretty quickly. And over the next 3 hours, the bulk of the termites migrated across the entire floor in this super cool pattern. Dang, that is insane to watch on a time lapse.
Oh my gosh, these termites completely dug this entire area out so much faster than how long it usually takes for my ants to do it. And thankfully, this video is just getting started, because the next fun thing I have planned for the termites is to put a predator with them. And by a predator, I mean I've got this tiny little earthworm that, to be honest, who knows? When it digs under with the termites, what's gonna happen? I mean, they could swarm it, they could just completely evacuate the place, I don't know.
So the only way to find out was to put this little worm inside. Now almost instantly, it squeezed under the glass floor and started to dig in the dirt as it got closer to the termites. Now I'm pretty sure termites only eat stuff like wood, so honestly I didn't even think much would happen, but as the worm got nearer, some of the termites started to approach the worm with the little tunnels they had dug out and didn't initially attack it. In fact, they sort of just ignored that it was even there, just walking from one side of it to the other, acting like it was just some sort of bridge. But then all of a sudden, I noticed tons more of the termites starting to gather around the backside of the worm, almost like they were gonna start attacking it. Even some of these bigger termites marched in called soldiers that specifically have these massive mandibles meant to defend the termite nest. But as I kept watching, surprisingly the swarm didn't attack and, well, they kind of just let the worm dig around their nest.
Dang, this is so interesting. How the termites are just fine living with a literal worm in their nest. Yeah, they're just not attacking it at all.
Even more interestingly, as I left my time-lapse camera recording, the worm really just learned to coexist with the 1,000 termites. Yeah, I mean, this honestly makes sense. This species of termites literally only eats wood, so there's no reason for them to waste your energy attacking a harmless worm.
Dang, that's cool. Well, I'm guessing you guys are hungry, so for our next test, we're gonna feed these guys some wood. Hopefully, they like it.
But yeah, I don't only have this nice natural piece of bark from a tree, I also have this piece of cardboard. So that way I can test both of these materials to see which is the best food source to feed these guys in the future. And after sliding both of the food sources under the sheet of acrylic, the termites had access to them. And honestly, it didn't take long till some of the termites started to investigate it. Since putting the termites in this nest, they've had like a day with no wood, so I knew for sure they would be hungry. Now, interestingly, there was almost like no termites going up to the actual piece of wood, but there was quite a few checking out the piece of cardboard, even walking inside the tiny holes on the side of it. You see, termites like this species actually have more than 100,000 microscopic little alive creatures inside their bodies. They're called flagellates, and basically they live inside termite bodies, and as the termite chews wood, these flagellates help to digest the wood and break it up into actual nutrients somehow. But yeah, it's just insane knowing each termite body is basically just a massive house to so many of these unseeable creatures. Now, even though some of the termites were walking inside the cardboard, it didn't actually seem like they were eating either of these food sources yet. Well, that was until this, because I kept my time-lapse camera recording, totally just expecting the termites not to move towards the wood. You can see most of the termites were actually staying near the bottom, away from the wood. But as I kept recording for another half an hour, eventually a couple termites started to walk on top of the piece of bark. And they looked pretty excited, because soon after, a few more termites started to walk onto it. I guess they didn't realize this was food earlier, but since they had now found out, these initial termites that had walked on here started to release a type of special pheromone in the air that signals there was food here. And because the whole colony could sense the pheromones, it literally only took about 5 more minutes until this piece of wood started to get absolutely swarmed. Yeah, it happened so fast, and soon enough, the entire piece of bark was covered from top to bottom in termites. But interestingly, it seemed like this piece of cardboard wasn't getting nearly as much attention from the termites anymore.
Yo, check out this wood. It's getting absolutely swarmed right right now. And it may look like the cardboard's not getting eaten, but if you actually look very closely in there, oh yeah, this thing's getting eaten up too.
Yup, that's right, because when I pointed my camera directly to the side of this cardboard, you could tell it was overflowing with termites. It looked like they were just crawling all up inside of it, and when I got some tweezers to peel back the piece of cardboard, well, you could see just how many there actually was inside, which kind of all immediately evacuated once they realized I was peeling this apart, so sorry guys.
Oh my gosh, it's only been an hour and these termites are decimating the wood. Imagine what they're gonna do to the mini wood house when I leave it in there for a week.
And after shaking off all the termites I could, you could see this piece of wood looked quite a bit different, and it looked like it may have even been hollowed out because there's just a bunch of termites walking inside. Anyways, for the final test before feeding them a wooden house, well, I want to put my termites through a maze.
Yep, termites, I'm gonna be testing your intelligence, and if you actually make it to the end of the maze, I'll reward you with the house.
To make this termite maze, I got out an empty fish tank and I started to cut these lines of plastic to make the shape of a maze. After going and gluing them down, I completely filled the floor up with another thin layer of dirt. If you remember, the termites dug through that first nest I made for them in a cool pattern, so I'm wondering if they're gonna do the same here and if they're gonna take any wrong turns that lead them to a dead end.
All right, then let me go and just put this perfectly sized piece of glass here, and then let me put a piece of bark and cardboard at the end so they'll actually have a goal to get to. Well, let me gather up these termites and I'll move them in here.
And yeah, it was actually quite a bit harder than I thought to move these termites out because how incredibly small they are. So I sort of just resorted to digging up all the dirt I could that the termites were hiding under. I even found that worm that I had placed in earlier, which is still just living peacefully inside. But yeah, eventually I got all the termites into this little container with dirt.
All right, now I just gotta dump these in here so they can start the maze. Also, what's kind of cool is if you look at the underside of this, all the termites have just started to gather there. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, anyways, I went and started to scoop the dirt into the maze enclosure pretty carefully in order to not hurt the termites. You can see this whole pile of dirt was just absolutely overflowing with tons of termites. But basically, you remember how the termites were just gathering on the bottom of the little container they were just in? The plan here is they're gonna do the same thing and they'll slowly make their way into the maze. Hopefully. Yeah, I don't actually know if this is gonna work. But I set up my time-lapse camera and waited to see what would happen. After not too long, this termite was the first to enter the maze, but somehow he decided to crawl into the walls of the maze, and he sort of started to break through to the other side of the wall. Now, thankfully, this was a dead end, so when the rest of the colony decided to follow this cheating termite, they didn't finish too easily. Over the next few hours, you can really see how the termites learned to follow each other because so many of them ended up at this little tunnel at the top left area, but it was only a matter of time until more of the colony started to go down into the maze, and over the next day, they started to travel closer and closer to the wood end goal. I mean, they still kind of were cheating, but eventually one termite did actually make it to the wood. And yeah, I guess just like that, they had completed the maze. Good job, termites.
Well, since you guys made it to the end of this awesome maze, that of course means you guys get to eat the house now. Let me gather you guys out of here real quick and let's do that.
Yeah, it took a little while, but eventually I got them into another container.
And yeah, you can see how they're all pretty much just gathering up on the bottom once again. Oh my gosh, there's actually so many right there. But anyways, I got the house right here, so let me just, and boom, just like that, the house teleports inside. There's totally no editing involved in that. That was just magic.
Now, I first drilled a hole into the top of this house that I'd eventually be able to record through. Then I also added a bit of dirt around and inside of the house so the termites would want to stay here. And finally, termites need constant moisture to survive. So I'm just gonna absolutely drench this house with my spray bottle. Hopefully this will make it easier to chew through.
All right, termites, I hope you're still hungry. Yeah, I guess let me just try and take this sheet of termites and just start dumping them in the house. And then there's still tons in here, so I'm just gonna go and dump them inside and kind of just all around the house. Let's get this thing absolutely destroyed. Well, hopefully. I don't actually know if they're gonna eat it, but that's the plan.
Now, it's pretty cool to see the sheer amount of termites just swarming every single inch of this house. And you could even see them inside a little bit, but I couldn't see that much since it was kind of dark. So I, of course, set up the time-lapse camera and recorded for many hours. And you can see there was tons of termites that were just walking around the perimeter of the tank investigating what was going on, while others were still swarming around the dirt of the house and also climbing all up inside the hole that I drilled on the top of the roof. But there was no destruction really visible just yet.
Okay, it's been about 24 hours and it almost seems like the termites are doing nothing to this house. But you see, the thing that makes termites so deadly to houses is the fact that they completely work out of sight. So let's do a little more investigating on this thing.
So I pointed my super bright studio light through that hole I put in the top, and you could see the termites were in here, but yeah, it was still not super visible inside of here. So I went and pointed the camera through that hole in the roof, and I was even more amazed by the amount of termites all huddling around the wooden walls. You can even see how some of them would rapidly shake their heads. Apparently they do this to signal to the rest of the colony that danger's nearby. But yeah, you can see the walls were starting to look like they were maybe getting a little bit destroyed so far.
Yo, the termites are absolutely swarming inside of there. Hold on, wait, I wonder if they're under. Oh my gosh. That's more than I was expecting. Oh my gosh, there's even more on the underside of that.
Yeah, tons were gathering right here, as you can see. I wasn't really sure if these ones were actually eating the wood or if they were here for just cover. Either way, I kept recording my time-lapse camera, and while nothing really interesting happened on the outside, as you could probably guess, when I moved the time-lapse camera inside to start to record, you could see how there was so much more action and how they were climbing all over this wall. Surely they were eating it, but if you didn't know, termites are some of the slowest eaters in the animal kingdom, and even with over 1,000 in this 10-hour time lapse, you can't really see a whole lot of damage being made, but you can see some of these termites were making this cool little mud ball out of dirt, saliva, and wood that they spit out. They sometimes will make these little balls in their nest to keep moisture, since, as I said earlier, they need moisture to survive. Yeah, at this pace, it would take months for the termites to start making noticeable progress through the wood. I would call this video a success. I mean, we literally learned so much about termites, and so yeah, stay tuned for that when I post that. But in the meantime, we can definitely see the tiny bits of chewing progress they've made since being in here. Pretty cool. So yeah, stay tuned for the community post. Make sure to subscribe so you'll see it when I post it. And yeah, hopefully you learned something new about termites. I guess click the video on the screen and goodbye. There is a 1 in 73 million% chance that a snake is born with 2 heads. But by some miracle, some of these snakes are able to survive and are able to learn to live with 2 different minds. Now, normally it would be impossible to get one of these, but I just found this guy who has a pet 2-headed snake.
Hey Terra Green, I'm Max, and this is Mario and Luigi, one of the rarest 2-headed snakes in the world. They're growing a little fast, and I need you to build them a new enclosure.
Well, Max, I can definitely do that. So in this video, I'm going to create a dream home paradise and put the 2-headed snake inside. Now, there's not much documented research around 2-headed snakes, so this video will be a first for YouTube, showing off everything about them. Now, because this is for one of the largest 2-headed snakes in the world, I got out a massive enclosure. And to start the build, we need to create the rainforest background. To do this, I covered the whole back glass with some spray foam, which would allow me to stick tons of large pieces of wood to it. You see, I'm trying to make a lush rainforest in here, since that's where the 2-headed snake species lives in the wild. To finish the look, I covered it in dirt and other rainforesty materials. Alright, this actually looks cool how it wraps around the entire enclosure. But anyways, now using moss bricks, I'm going to fill in the floor of this enclosure. But also I'm going to use these slabs of moss and also some wood chip stuff. Yeah. Now, with this concoction of stuff, I'm going to add in a big tub of water, which will get entirely absorbed by these bricks. And yeah, you've probably already seen this before, but after mixing it, boom, we now had the whole floor in there completed. Anyways, this is where it gets fun, because you see, 2-headed snakes are so unique. So in this enclosure, I need to make special accommodations to, accommodate how crazy they are. With the first thing being these things. These are 2 rock water bowls, which I put inside of the enclosure. I just figured that the 2 heads are going to want their own fresh water bowl, so they don't have to share. So yeah, pretty good. Anyways, I do just have to put some normal decorations around the water bowls to make this place look more like a rainforest. And I thought it'd be cool to spread a bunch of this leaf litter along the floor to make it look like all those leaves fell from the trees above. Now, I asked Max if he wanted any special additions, and he said most 2-headed snakes aren't able to climb, but Mario and Luigi are an exception. Make sure to include tons of climbing vines so they can show off. And lucky for him, using this, I just figured out a new trick to make climbing vines. You see, first you get a bunch of this rope, not too thick, but also not too thin. Then you load up some silicone into a gun and get to spraying it all over the rope. After spreading it all around, you can add in a bunch of dirt and other vine stuff, and after mixing it, you will get a DIY vine. And because the silicone on this hardens up a pretty good amount, it's gonna let me bend it around all the branches. That way we can get this hooked up everywhere along the top section. So that's exactly what I did, putting it around every corner so Mario and Luigi would be able to climb to their heart's content. Now, to finish off the decorations, I put in a snake hide because pretty much every snake species needs that. But because we're of course putting a 2-head snake in here, I used some foam to put a little divider here because I want to see if Mario and Luigi pop out both their heads. That way they can scan for prey separately. Alright, the floor looks all good now, but now I want to scatter some plants up in the tree area to finalize that rainforest look. So you already know. I'm gonna pick out some of these colorful ones. Let me get some of these green ones. And oh man, this is just amazing. So I went around and picked out the coolest ones I could find and then checked them out. When I got home, I of course got them out and scattered them all around the upper and lower parts of the enclosure. And then using my hot glue gun, I attached tons of draping vines and even got out some moss like I do in all my enclosures to glue around everywhere as well.
Okay, this place is super green and luscious now. It looks really good. But to finish it off, we gotta put some technology into this enclosure.
First of all, this thing, which is a rainforest spray system, so we can make this really into a rainforest. It was pretty easy to set up. I just attached the sprayers in the corner and used some glue to cover the water tubing. And now when you go down here and click the button I attached to the side of the enclosure, boom, shakalaka, it's now raining. Pretty cool. Okay, the next technology is just a simple LED light strip, which I attached to the top of the enclosure and plugged in.
It isn't anything too crazy, but I just think the pink at the top contrasts pretty well with all the green around the enclosure. So yeah, I like it. That looks good.
Well, now that I'm done with this rainforest enclosure, I can now be one of the first YouTubers to show off such an insane, never seen before creature. Well, Max lives in another city, so the next day he drove a couple hours to come pick me and the enclosure up so we could of course put the snake inside.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, dude?
Max, the man, the myth, the legend. You are the person that probably owns the top 5 like rarest snakes in the world, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, the 2-headed snake. Well, anyways, let's not waste any time. Just check out this enclosure I built for them.
Alright, already this exceeds my expectation completely.
Yeah, really? You like it?
Yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, I tried to make it look like just like a crazy rainforest. You know, all the plants green everywhere.
Oh my god.
All right, but I did forget one thing actually. Right under this towel, come take a look at this.
Okay.
Mario and Luigi little figures.
Alright, I like that.
Where should we put them? Just right there?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
You want them together or you want them separate?
I guess the snakes are together, right?
That's true, yeah.
All right.
Alright, I can't. This looks so cool. Let's get it back to my place.
Yeah, let's go put those 2-head snakes in.
Yeah, let's put Mario and Luigi in.
So we got the enclosure in his car and drove a few hours back to his house.
All right, we're here. Let's go inside. I can't wait to see that 2-head snake. Let's actually get that in right away.
After bringing it inside, I set up the camera stuff and got the enclosure ready while Max went to pick up Mario and Luigi.
Alright, come over here. I want to show you something.
Oh, you want to show me something? Is Mario and Luigi in here?
Yeah, but before I show you them, I want you to realize how rare they are and how special they are, like that they're still alive.
What Max did is he pulled out the container that actually had the mom that gave birth to the 2-headed snake, and he told me normally for a 2-headed snake to be born, a snake's egg has the chance for twins to be inside, but then there's a super rare chance that there's a birth defect that causes the twins to only partially split, causing it to have 2 different snake heads in one body.
The reason why Mario and Luigi are way crazier is because they're boas and they give live birth.
So that's a boa and that gives live birth?
Yes. Meaning all the stuff that we just explained happens in the mother's stomach.
So yeah, one day this mom just gave birth to a 2-headed snake. And as you can see in these pictures, it's a little disgusting when they're born, a bunch of slime and stuff everywhere. But despite all odds, Mario and Luigi were born that day and were perfectly functioning as a normal snake.
Okay, that's cool and all, but let's get to the reason why we're all here. Where's Mario and Luigi? Are they in here?
Alright, yes they are.
Oh, okay.
So we got the 2-headed snake's current enclosure out, and immediately we opened up the lid to reveal the beauty inside. Mario and Luigi right there in front of my eyes, just chilling around.
This is something that shouldn't exist in this species. 2 heads in one body.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This thing is like majestical.
If you think that's crazy, wait till we feed them. Watching them eat live is crazy.
And yes, eating with 2 heads means sometimes they will both separately try to eat the same food. And it's one of the most interesting things in all of nature. But as you can see, Max has been keeping them in this enclosure. And while it may look basic, it's actually not bad. 2-head snakes are super delicate creatures, and it's best not to have anything too complex in the place where they sleep. But he had me build this rainforest so we could document what 2-head snakes do in the wild.
All right, so why don't we just get these in the enclosure?
Alright, let's do it.
Okay, you're just gonna go straight and pick it up, okay. You're not even scared of getting bit at all?
I mean, it could happen, but once you pick them up, they calm down. They realize that you mean no harm.
Oh, that's cool. Oh man, they're chill. They're just sitting there.
So Max put them in, and apparently Mario and Luigi have never seen an enclosure as natural as this, so right away they got to exploring.
This is so interesting. So do these 2 heads, do they both control the body?
Yeah, they kind of struggle.
So which one's on the left? So
That's Luigi.
That's Luigi. So Luigi's trying to go left, and Mario on the right, he's trying to go right. So it's like, they're kind of like stumped.
Now this is actually a pretty common problem for 2-headed snakes, but since Mario and Luigi are over a year old, they know how to handle this and continue moving on together. Now Max wanted to prove Mario and Luigi were good at climbing, so he picked them up and put them in the tree area.
So usually, is this boa like species good at climbing?
Yeah, they're pretty arboreal.
Okay.
And immediately Mario and Luigi started to work together to climb around. And Max was right, they were pretty good and got around with no problems whatsoever.
Another interesting thing about Mario and Luigi is they each have their own personality.
Luigi's on the left, so Luigi is what's his personality
He's
like?
definitely more go with the flow, more your typical boa. He's more relaxed.
Okay.
And then Mario over here is kind of feistier.
Now, Max wanted to show the two personalities in action, so he took them out the rainforest and put them back into the other enclosure.
So just having him in here, I want to show you how Mario's personality is different.
Yeah.
Just having my finger in front of him.
Oh yeah, Mario's definitely getting a lot more like agitated. The one on the left, Luigi, like he's just chilling.
He's smelling my finger, and Mario doesn't want to smell. He just means business.
That is crazy. But you're just like fine getting your finger like that. I would not do that. You're just crazy.
Now finally, before feeding them, Max insisted on me holding the two-headed snake to get that experience.
I mean, I don't really know how to do this though.
Pick him up from their end.
Okay, so we just want to start. Oh, they're kind of getting mad at me. I'm not gonna lie. Ooh. Okay, so we just pick them up and then
Slide your hand underneath.
They're not gonna bite me. Ooh. Okay, so I'm picking up a two-head snake. How many people can say they've done this, huh?
Not a lot.
Yeah, this is crazy.
As you saw, I was very scared at first, but eventually they really mellowed out and they started to crawl all over me. And yeah, they even did some crazy acrobats. Ugh. That's pretty impressive, actually. But now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for, watching the two heads eat. So to do that, we got out a tiny little mouse.
All right, it's time to feed it the mouse, and this is just freshly killed, right? This is from your little mouse
pre-killed.
farm. Okay, let's see what they do. Oh, he just immediately went and grabbed it. This is so cool. So while Luigi's eating, Mario's just sitting there. And do you think does he usually eat less than Luigi?
Definitely. Mario eats probably once a month, while Luigi eats every week.
So for about 10 minutes, Luigi tried to get a good hold of the mouse and swallow it. But it was so interesting because Mario kept going about his day, just slithering around, while Luigi was still trying to swallow the mouse.
That is so crazy how Mario's just like kind of doing his own thing. Luigi's trying to swallow. Like, why is this happening?
It's two snakes in one body, so Mario's trying to move while Luigi's trying to eat.
But eventually, Luigi started to get the hang of it and got the whole thing into his mouth and down his stomach. And if you thought that wasn't cool enough, a couple days later, we got this insane footage of both the snakes eating. First of all, we put some mice in front of both of them, and like always, Luigi grabbed his, but Mario missed. But as Luigi started to swallow, Mario got bored and started to just grab onto the mouse as well. It was crazy watching Mario just latch on while Luigi stuffed it down his mouth. They even started to sort of fight with each other and drag it around the entire enclosure. So to make sure nothing bad happened, we tried to feed Mario again, and thankfully this time he took the little mouse and everything was good. Well, thank you for watching. This was my craziest video ever. Subscribe for more. Bye. These are mealworms, and they're known for their ability to eat almost anything. But what if you put 10,000 mealworms on a whole watermelon? How quickly would they completely eat it and turn it to mush despite its massive size? Yeah, I don't know, so that's why I bought 10,000 meal. This is a bloodworm, and it is the creepiest, most disgusting creature ever. It even has 4 venomous fangs in each corner of its mouth that you definitely don't want to get bit by.
Here we go, bloodworm. Even as an animal expert, I am like pretty spooked about these. But anyways, let's just check them out.
Underneath all the packing material were the bloodworms. So using some tweezers, I carefully removed one to take a closer look. And yep, this is a bloodworm. You can see that they are absolutely disgusting looking, and their mouth is even able to extend out of their body like an alien. But at the end of this part that expands are their venomous fangs, which they use to latch onto stuff like shrimp in the ocean, which I'll be showing off very soon. Now, one thing though, I actually bought 12 of these bloodworms that I'm gonna have to keep all in the same aquarium. So yeah, this is gonna be a nightmare. Now for the build, I'm gonna put in some aqua soil and a dirt mix. Eventually, we're gonna completely fill it with water because that's how bloodworms live in the wild. But for now, I just put a tiny bit of water in to keep the dirt nice and moisty.
But I've already run into the first problem because I don't think I was supposed to add the water straight to the dirt. It kind of made it a weird consistency. And the water is just straight up black.
So yeah, I drained the water, scooped out the dirt, and I washed it off in the sink. Then I put the soil back in, covered it in a thin layer of sand, and added the water back. As you can see now, the water stays fantastically clear. Nice. This mound here in the middle will be where I build all the decorations, and I'll even be putting in some red plants, and then finally filling it all up with water. First of all, let's get some pieces of wood in here. And I thought this design of multiple of these burnt looking ones coming from the middle looked pretty nice. I didn't want them sticking out the top though, so I broke off all those extra pieces and planted them in the sand below to give the whole wood structure a more fuller look. Now it's time for the rocks, and you may think these are just called river rocks, but in fact, that is not true. This one on the left is actually called an elderly boulder, and this one on the right is called a black venom boulder. Now those are some cool names. Just wanted to say thank you to whoever named them.
But the best rock I have is this. It's actually not a rock at all. It's actually wood. Yeah, just like what I already got in there.
Yeah, it's called petrified wood, and basically millions of years ago, it was buried under the earth and turned into a rock over time.
But for this wood rock back here, I've actually got a pretty cool plan. As you can see, I've got a little can of sardines, which you basically just open by pulling the... okay, it just broke off. Okay, attempt 2. Basically, you just open it like this, and inside there's some like dead fish that you eat.
Now with the sardines, I actually went and put one of them under this petrified wood. I'm doing this because I want to test to see if the bloodworms have a smell ability and whether they'll be able to find the sardine under it, dig it out, and eat it. Yeah, that should be pretty fun to watch. Anyways, now I want to get some red aquatic plants in here. Got the package with all of the red plants inside, so I took them all out and started to put them around random parts in the sand. Now, a few of the plants they gave me weren't actually red, they were very green, but it's okay because I was starting to like the look of how it was all coming together. I also ended up getting these red ruby crystals that I scattered along the floor of the enclosure to add a bit more red in here to match that bloodworm color, of course. But as you can probably tell, I've been keeping the two sides of this enclosure completely empty. And that's because I want to build some custom DIY builds on both sides that the 12 bloodworms will be able to interact with. First of all, on the right side, I'm going to make a little cave they can all hide in. Now, in an old video, I learned this cool trick where you get out a basket, cut a hole in the front, and cover it in rocks to make your very own cave. So I'm going to do it again, but this time with 3 different baskets to make a triple decker cave. So I went and cut the front of the baskets off to be the entrance. I sanded them down a bit so it wasn't as sharp, and I covered the baskets in a ton of spray foam. Because let's be real, it wouldn't be a Terra Green video without it. And then I started to carve it out to make it look like the spray foam was the actual rocks of the cave. Anyways, here is the finished triple decker cave. Looks good, right? Right?
Let's just get this thing in there just like that. It may not be the prettiest decoration in the whole world, but a wise man did once tell me it's not about the looks, it's about the thought that went into it. And yeah, a lot of thought did go into this cave, okay? We can store 3 different worms in there.
All right, now time for the left side's DIY build, and this time I've got something interesting. Yep, it's a food platter. Basically, I'm gonna prepare a bunch of different foods for the bloodworms. That way I'll be able to see which they like the most once I get them inside. So anyways, I drove to Walmart to do some food shopping.
Okay, well, we're shopping for bloodworms today, so I came straight to the meat aisle, of course.
Now, first on the shopping list was some beef. Now, if you remember, this is actually the same stuff I fed in my video where I got pet leeches. And if you saw that, you probably remember they absolutely loved it. Like, I was having trouble getting them off of it, so of course I bought some of that for the bloodworms. But I also went over to the fish aisle and decided to buy some salmon, which are a type of saltwater fish, which usually live with bloodworms in the wild, so I figured they might like to eat that. And also in that aisle, I got some shrimp, because when you search on Google what bloodworms like to eat, it says shrimp. So if nothing else works, they should at least eat this. Finally, I went to the aquarium aisle to buy some of these fish pellets, because who knows, maybe the bloodworms will eat those too. Once I got home, I got out all the foods in the order I'll be feeding them to the bloodworms. It's gonna be crazy to watch their fangs absolutely rip this food to shreds, and I'm even gonna show some unseen stuff about these bloodworms. Now let's get this tank filled up with water and get the bloodworms inside. To do that, it meant I needed to take out the food, since it would get soggy if I kept it inside.
Yeah, I'll put this back in there very soon, but for now I'm just gonna store it in my fridge to keep it fresh.
Now, of course, I had to start filling it up with water so the bloodworms will be able to swim around in there. But when it got to like 30% full, I kind of realized a big problem.
Oh shoot, bro, I don't know how I didn't think of this, but bloodworms, they live on the beaches of oceans, and the beaches of oceans have salt water. I've been making this a freshwater tank. I've been putting fresh water in it.
But it's okay, because thankfully in the corner of my garage, I just have 2 big cartons of Pacific Ocean water, sourced straight from the ocean. Don't ask why I have this, I just do. Anyways, I drained out a little bit of the fresh water and started to add in the ocean salt water. And by the time it was filled up, the salt level was 0.02, which is perfect for bloodworms.
All right, all the right water parameters have been met in here, so the bloodworms are good to go in. But because I put salt water in here, it does mean the $200 on freshwater plants I spent is gonna go down the drain. Yeah, these are all about to die.
Since they were all gonna die, I wanted to replace the red theme in here, so I got this heatless red lamp. As you can see, it makes the water have this red tint to it, which is cool, because you gotta have the water at least look a little bit like blood when putting bloodworms inside. Now, I also need to get snails inside of here so they can eat any algae that grows.
Now, luckily for me, I actually have this tank just set up with like 30 just snails in here, and they're called Nerite snails, and they're able to survive in salt water, so that's why I'm gonna choose these guys.
So I got a few of those and put them inside the bloodworm tank. Once they got used to the water, a few of them came out their shells and started to move about the glass. Now, I think these guys should be safe from bloodworms because of their shells, but I'm not gonna give the 100% guarantee. So sorry guys if you get eaten by the bloodworms. Now for the final touch of this tank. And what I did is I actually went and found this cool picture of a beware of the dog sign, and I went and asked AI to change it to a beware of the worm sign.
Oh my gosh, look at what it generated. That is absolutely perfect. Wait, let me go print this out at the store real quick.
So I printed it, attached it to a piece of cardboard to make it a sign, and there we go, a beware of worm sign. I then even went and spiced up the enclosure a little bit by splattering some red paint along the sides to make it look like blood splatters.
And there we go, 100% complete bloodworm enclosure. And I guess there's only one thing to do. Let's get these bloodworms inside. Now, I'll just be starting with one, and then I'll add all the rest as I test more and more food. But yeah, let's just put this guy inside. Be free, boy.
And the worm kind of just sank down to the bottom and started moving around randomly. And yeah, well, this is kind of all bloodworms do. They just wiggle about, and occasionally they'll burrow under the sand, which is where they spend most of their lives. And as you can see, it didn't take this guy long until he started to do just that. But I guess he got bored of the digging, because eventually he just came out and started to wiggle about again above the sand.
Wait, before this guy tries to burrow under the sand again, let's get to feeding him some food to see which bloodworms like the most. And we're gonna be starting with just some little fish pellets. I'm not too sure if they're gonna eat this, but it's worth a shot. Let's put them inside.
But there was a slight problem, because as you can see, the fish food was floating, and I feel like the bloodworm isn't just gonna swim up to it. So instead, I picked it up with some tweezers and moved it towards the worm. And as you can see, when I moved it towards him, he actually went and flashed his fangs at me for the first time. I thought this surely meant he was hungry, so I started to wave the food around in front of his mouth a bunch, and yeah, nothing. He didn't eat it.
So hey, fish food, I'm gonna give a 0 out of 10. He didn't even want anything to do with that. But next up, out of all of these, I think I'm gonna do some salmon. Now this stuff is so smelly and so oily, I think he just has to eat it, right?
Now I actually went and added in 2 more bloodworms to the tank, so there was a higher chance of one of them eating it. Then I did the same thing. I just wiggled the salmon around in front of their mouths until they ate it. But just like the fish pellets, for some reason, these worms were not wanting anything to do with it. Now I actually think bloodworms need to have their mouth part extended and their fangs showing in order for them to eat food. And right now their mouths are retracted because I think they're stressed. So what I did was I actually went and put all of the 12 bloodworms in the aquarium and just kind of let them do their thing. My thinking was if I left them alone for a few hours in the tank, they'd start to get used to it and then they would eat. After a while, I went and took one of the bloodworms out and put him on land. I waited a little bit for him to shoot his mouth out, and when he did, I grabbed it with tweezers. Now you can really get a good look at the fangs, and what makes these fangs so cool is they're actually made of copper. Yeah, like the metal you find underground, and they're the only animal in the world with copper teeth. Anyways, with the bloodworm, I brought it up to the 3rd food source, which is of course beef, and after kind of like shoving his face in it, he instantly bit down with all 4 of his fangs and started to devour this piece of meat and just suck all the juices out.
Wow, it took a long time for me to get a bloodworm to eat a piece of meat, but dang, that is so cool when they do grab on, because look, I'm shaking it, like literally it doesn't want to come off. It's like, I am eating this, do not take it away. So I think I'm gonna go try that same thing with the last food source, which is a shrimp.
And once one of the other worms shot out their mouth, I once again grabbed it, and this time put the shrimp in front of it. He also immediately grabbed onto it, and now these 2 bloodworms were having the time of their lives eating up the food. After like an hour, I went and removed the food from them, which was pretty hard. I had to like kind of shake them off.
Holy, that was actually kind of cool to watch, and it looks like you can see the little bite mark where the worm was biting, and remember, these guys are venomous, so there's literally venom.
How much weight can a spider web actually hold? Obviously they hold flies, but what about a pen? A water bottle? A dumbbell?
Well, I went out and bought the spider that makes the strongest webs in the world to be able to go and test it.
And without wasting wasting any time, I let the spider loose into this massive enclosure with tons of anchor points all over the wall to ensure an enormous web could be built in here. You see, these are called golden silk orb weavers, and their silk is so strong that it's said that the military literally studied it to learn how to make bulletproof vests. Yeah, these guys are the real deal. So while we wait for this massive web to be constructed, I also want to test questions like what is the coolest spider species, can spiders walk on water, and tons of other fun spider questions, starting with what is a trapdoor spider?
Basically, the answer is they're one of the most insane animals you'll ever see.
And I instantly dropped it into a little enclosure I built for it. You see, they're called trapdoor spiders because they build trapdoors. Basically, over the course of a few hours, they dig out a hole in the ground. Then they coat the inside of that hole with a special kind of silk they produce that allows it to essentially turn into a functional trapdoor that they can surprise prey with. And while I wasn't able to catch mine building the trapdoor, the next morning I came back to find this area looking pretty different. And based off of this suspicious moss and silk tripwires, I'm pretty sure the spider set up his trapdoor right here.
So I suspect if I put a cricket in, the spider will jump out of the trapdoor to eat it.
Immediately, the cricket got to walking around, and this enclosure isn't super big, so it wasn't long until the cricket was right next to the trapdoor. Now, you see these silk lines. Like I said earlier, they are tripwires that are directly connected down to where the spider is located. So if something were to touch one of these tripwires, the spider would instantaneously know exactly where to strike. And well, guys, it is insane to see this because like 20 seconds later, the cricket walked over the trapdoor onto the tripwire, and the cricket is now it's just gone. Check out that instant replay. Oh my gosh. The fact that the spider is just born with the ability to know to do this is so insane. And if you thought that was cool, while we wait for our golden silk orb weaver to make the strongest web in the world, I still have way more fun spider questions, with the next one being, can spiders walk on water?
Yeah, you might be thinking, heck no, Green. Are you stupid? If a spider walked on water, it would just fall in and drown. But I think I actually found a spider species that actually can walk on water. And I've heard they can also do tons of other crazy stuff.
So I built it up the perfect environment with both a water and a land area to get this experiment started. Now, I very carefully let the spider loose because obviously, as you can tell, it's extremely large and creepy. And while I have a whole channel about keeping the weirdest pets, I'm still kind of scared of spiders. But eventually, the spider ended up crawling out of the container.
All right, now that he's out of that container and on the land section, hopefully he now goes and walks in the water. Let me see if maybe I can move him over there. I don't want to. Oh, he's doing it.
Yep, and just like that, the spider started to defy the laws of physics, kinda. I know it looks like the spider is just sort of floating on top of the water, but it actually has completely perfect control to be able to walk around on top, just like it was solid ground. Yeah, it's actually insane, but these spiders are able to do this because of their legs, which are covered with these super tiny water repellent hairs that make them buoyant on top of the water.
But these guys didn't just evolve to walk on the water for nothing. They did it so they could hunt where no other spider could.
While most normal spiders just sit on a web all day waiting for the prey to come to them, these guys are active hunters and instead are able to pick up the slightest vibrations in the water to know exactly where the stuff is to attack it.
So I want to see if this fishing spider will try and dive under the water for some crickets. This should be very interesting. I've heard crickets are these guys' super favorite food, if that makes sense. Yeah, they really like them though.
Yeah, now I was gonna try and take my time with this, but you see I accidentally dropped the cricket in, and right away the fishing spider went insane and pounced on it without wasting a single second, and the cricket was now just straight up in the fangs of this insane predator. But I didn't really get a good view of it attacking the cricket, so what I actually did was took the cricket from the spider so I could see if I could get the shot one more time. And this time the spider once again pounced onto the cricket as soon as it saw it. And obviously it's pretty creepy and you can see those legs moving. It's very scary actually. But you could see from under the water the cricket had no chance of escape, and it was now getting eaten as the spider walked up onto the land to finish eating it there.
All right. I'm super excited about the next question because it is, what is the most camouflage spider species? And well, guys, I think I found it. I got it. It's right in here.
But before I could take it out of this container, I quickly built up its enclosure. And yep, literally all we need is just some sand, and that is it. These are one of the most resilient and simple spiders in the entire world. And let's open this. Now you may notice that I was being extremely ultra careful with opening this. And that's because because this species is one of the most venomous creatures on the planet. Like, period. And if it bit me, there'd be a high likelihood I wouldn't make it. But thankfully, that didn't happen because the spider started to climb out of the paper towel and then onto the sand. Now, these are called six-eyed sand spiders. And you may be wondering, bruh, Theragreen, how the heck is this thing camouflaged at all? Well, you see, these guys are able to camouflage by doing this. Once they find a good spot where the sand is nice and loose, they start to kick sand on top of themselves and bury themselves under it to hide here for basically 99% of its life. Now, it may not technically be camouflage, but this ability does an amazing job at hiding it. And I mean, even its legs just look like tiny little sticks poking out the sand. This does not look like a spider. And like other predators that use their camouflage abilities to hunt, these spiders are no different. And as soon as they detect motion, they will jump out of the floor.
So let's feed this thing a cricket. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, you would have no idea that that is literally one of the most venomous things in the world.
Anyways, I went and dropped the cricket inside, and immediately he got to running around the enclosure. But little did he know, right under his feet was his doom. Well, kinda, because I thought right away the spider was gonna pop out, but the cricket actually was just straight up walking on top of the spider, and the spider just didn't care. But I think it's because this cricket was a little bit big for the spider, so a little bit later, I came back with a smaller cricket, as you can see. And well, as you can also see, this time the spider did not waste a single second to pounce onto this cricket. Nah, look at this instant replay. Imagine if that was my finger. And, well, I guess this spider is gonna enjoy his very tasty meal now. Nice. All right, now it's time for question number 4, which is what spider is the most like Spider-Man?
Yeah, might sound funny, but the answer is definitely the thing in this container. Because you know how Spider-Man can shoot long-ranged webs out of his wrists? Well, this spider species can also shoot long-ranged webs, and it's pretty crazy.
These are called long-legged spitting spiders. And as you can see, they look pretty weird because they have a massive head. You see, most spiders have their silk glands, which are the things that make silk, in their abdomen. And that's why that area is so big. But these guys got their silk glands in their head because they need to be able to shoot webs out of their mouth. But in order for them to be able to do that, they gotta go and set up a little area in their tank. So I put my spider in a tank and he started to walk around, climbed up some sticks and stuff. And when I came back a little bit later, there was a little web made at the top of the enclosure. This means he was now settled in and he is ready to attack some prey.
All right, now that the spider went and made a web somewhere at the top of the enclosure, I'm gonna put in some crickets like always. And I know it's kind of a lot, but hopefully one of these guys gets shot by some webs. Let's go.
So I put them in, and while most of the crickets were kind of just walking around the grassy floor area, this one cricket started to climb up this stick that led directly to where the spitting spider was. The cricket then crawled right next to the spider, waking him up, which probably angered the spider, causing the spider to shoot his web directly onto the cricket, completely gluing him to the wall, making sure the cricket would never be able to move again. You see, not only does this web shot completely immobilize the prey, just like Spider-Man can do, but also because the web shots come from the head, it's infused with the spider's venom, meaning the web that's covering this cricket's body is seeping venom into it, which makes it even easier for the spider to consume it. And as you can see, that's exactly what the spider did. Very nice. Now the next question is, what is the cutest spider in the world?
And yes, there is a good reason I'm testing this. You'll see what I mean. But anyways, I got the cutest spider right in here.
They're called jumping spiders, and I mean, just look at them. While every other spider is evil and just straight up nasty looking, these guys are super fluffy and they got all these little cute eyes, arms, and everything about them is just lovely. Oh my gosh, they're so cute.
In fact, these spiders are so cute, they literally made an entire animated show about them called Lucas the Spider. And dang, this is pretty entertaining, but also it's not very accurate because if this is real, the spider would definitely be eating the fly.
Because even though these guys are so cute, they're called jumping spiders because of their insane ability to jump towards prey and eat them whole. Yeah, they probably aren't so cute to the prey. So you already know, I got a little home built for this guy. I went and put him inside, and I got out a cricket to feed him.
Yeah, but this cricket is pretty big for the jumping spider. So if it's able to eat this thing, that'll just show how insane they are despite being super duper cute.
Now what I did was immediately showed the jumping spider the cricket to let him know it was feeding time. And while I was showing it to him, you could see he was actually being pretty nice and wasn't just straight up attacking it. Actually was kind of backing off. So I decided to let the cricket loose, and a little later I noticed the cricket was standing literally right next to the spider. And yeah, the jumping spider just wasn't eating it for some reason. Dang, maybe that little animation I was watching was accurate, and maybe jumping spiders are actually very friendly. Or maybe mine was just not hungry right now. Actually, that probably is what it is.
But I think I'm just gonna leave that cricket in there, so when the jumping spider gets hungry, it will do that, basically. Yeah, as you can tell in this footage, it's pretty cool to watch them eat. But anyways, the real reason why I wanted to get the cutest spider in the world is because many of you know that my mom is absolutely petrified of spiders.
Oh my god!
Yeah, one time I showed her a tarantula and she was just not happy.
Matt?
So hopefully this will help change her mind. Mom, can you come in here? Yo, hello there.
Hi, bud.
So, I just brought you in because I know you hate spiders, right? You do hate spiders?
Yes.
So basically, I just wanted to show you that I got the most venomous spider in the world.
What?
Yeah, right? No, I'm just kidding. It's the cutest spider in the world because I want to cure your fear of spiders.
Oh my gosh.
And as you can see, he's super friendly because he just, he can crawl on my arm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can see its face and I can see like red furry. No.
You want to get a closer look?
No.
And they're actually called jumping spiders because they're able to jump.
No.
So hopefully he doesn't jump on you.
No.
But I'm just gonna go and put him back inside of his home. There you go. Okay, so did that cure your fear of spiders?
Ooh, absolutely not.
Oh, dang it.
Well, I guess it was worth a shot. One day I will cure her fear of spiders. But anyways, now it's time to test the final question. How much weight can a spider web hold?
So if you remember, I went and put that spider inside of this massive enclosure. And for me, that was about a week ago. And since putting the spider inside of here, all he's pretty much done is spun some web at the back left corner and the back right corner. And yeah, he hasn't made a massive web in the middle.
You see, spiders that make massive webs like this can take weeks in captivity to feel comfortable enough to do it, just because the environment is totally different from the wild. Now, I usually would just keep waiting, but I had a flight to catch in 2 days to record another banger video for you guys. So instead, to be able to answer this question, the next morning I had to drive out to a trail bright and early in the morning to be able to find some spider webs in the wild myself.
And guys, I brought the backpack so we can test a bunch of items in the spider webs to see what is the heaviest item they can hold.
Now, after I found this first pretty tiny spider web, I got out the backpack to take out the lightest item to test the weight of crickets, which obviously you can see this web is able to hold it just fine. Webs like this are literally designed to be able to hold insects. You see, even just this is impressive because if these spiders were scaled up to how big humans were, it'd basically be the equivalent to a human being able to make a web that could hold 125 pounds, based on some complex math, which I'm not going to go into.
All right, but we knew that was going to be able to hold a cricket. Our next item we got to test though is a $20 bell, which actually weighs double the amount as what a cricket weighs. And also it's a lot bigger, so let's see if a bigger web can hold this.
Like I said, this web is a bit bigger and it should be able to hold this even though the weight is double the amount. And after kind of finding the right place to balance it, boom, just like that, the $20 looks like it's just floating there, but it's actually being held by the web. And when ranked on our human scalability, that money is the equivalent to a human making a web that could hold 250 pounds. We're getting heavier. But the next item is this empty pen casing, which is 5 times more heavy than that money. Now, if you're wondering how the web handled against this, well, you'd probably be surprised that it actually held without too much of a problem at all. Meaning this is basically the equivalent to a human web holding over 1,000 pounds. Now, we are getting heavy.
And now the last item I've got is a water bottle, which is obviously a lot heavier and also a lot bigger than all the other stuff I've tested. And I know it's not a dumbbell like I said at the start, but hey, I'm not trying to just destroy this web for no reason at all, because yeah, that would definitely destroy it. But yeah, let's test if this can hold the water bottle.
Now, with the pen and money already weighing this web down, it wasn't looking too promising, but I still tried my best to perfectly align the water bottle in the web so it would hold. And when I let go of the water bottle, it fell apart. But remember, it was basically able to hold the human equivalent to 1,000 pounds, basically, on my super accurate human scalability. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. And the point of this video was to show you guys that while spiders can be super creepy and also super deadly, they're actually some of the most interesting and amazing animals that we gotta show our respect to. And hopefully in this video, I kind of showed you that.
This is an Asian forest scorpion. But right now, he's living in a pet store with a small cage, no water, and he literally just has dirt. So I'm gonna spend $500 to give this scorpion the dream life he deserves. I want to give him unlimited food, an actual diverse ecosystem, and I even want to simulate weather events that the scorpion can experience in the wild. So to get started, I ordered not just 1 or 2, but literally 7 packages to build the scorpion's dream home. And of course, the build is gonna have to start with our 30-gallon glass terrarium. The only only problem is that it didn't come like this. I actually had to build it from scratch because apparently the people who made it were too lazy to do that themselves. Anyways, I have tons of materials to build all sorts of stuff for this enclosure. But firstly, I'm gonna create the rainforest backdrop. These scorpions live in the jungle and the wild, so I'm gonna build the jungle in his enclosure. To start this off, I need to load some silicone into my gun and cover the whole back of the glass with it like this. Then I got a ton of spider wood and put it along the back to represent tree branches. Now you might be wondering how I'm gonna make this wood stick to the back. Well, let me introduce you to spray foam. Basically, we're just going to... and boom. You might be thinking this looks ugly, and well, that's because it is. But to fix that, I'm gonna cut off some of the foam with a knife and put in some more silicone. And you might still be thinking this looks ugly. Well, to fix that, I'm gonna sprinkle some coconut fiber on it. And there we go. This is starting to look, okay. But the whole backdrop will really come to life once I fill these tiny pots that I also put here up with beautiful plants. But before doing that, we need to first design the floor portion of the terrarium. To start, we're filling up the bottom with a bunch of balls. Clay balls, to be exact. This is gonna be our drainage layer to make sure there won't be any mold outbreaks in the scorpion's dream home. Because you know, that would probably be bad. Anyways, I cut out some window screen and put that above the balls so I can fill it up with some substrate. We're gonna need at least 6 inches of substrate in order for the scorpion to be able to dig little burrows for himself. Which, if you remember, the pet store scorpion had barely an inch of dirt. He is probably so sad. So, let's finish his dream home. Asian forest scorpions love coconut fiber, so I'm mostly using that. But I'm also gonna mix in some wood chips and sphagnum moss with it to make it look more natural. Wow. But the floor wouldn't be completed without some decorations. So first, I put in some cork bark and moss, which scorpions love to hide under. I also added a little shallow water tray so the scorpion could get a nice drink of water without drowning. Finally, I sprinkled some rocks around for good measure. This is starting to look really good. Psych, it's about to look 10 times better because now I'm adding in the plants. Remember, these scorpions are from the Asian rainforest. So to replicate that, I'm gonna find the most colorful plants I can. Off to the flower shop I go. I'll be there soon. And of course, I went to the best place to get plants, Walmart.
Place your item.
Now, surprisingly, they actually did have a few pretty nice colorful plants. So I picked out some that I liked. And I got some deodorant too. Not for the scorpion or anything, you know, I just needed some. Anyways, this is what I got. And I started by adding some of the smaller plants onto the backdrop. And then I planted the rest into the floor area. The chunk of the rainforest was now complete, but while it's pretty, it's definitely not a dream home. In order to make it a dream home, we need to spoil the poor scorpion by creating custom technology in his enclosure, like a literal insect dispenser that will deliver live insects straight into his mouth, plus even more, but we'll start with the insect dispenser. Now, to be honest, I basically have 0 skills at building stuff, so I'm definitely not making some fully automatic crazy wired machine. Yeah, sorry. But what I will be doing is making a fun little slide for insects to slide down straight into their doom. To do this, I got a small acrylic tube and used some silicone to stick it at an angle to the wall. This will let me drop little feeding insects in, then watch them ride the slide of death. But to make sure there's a 0% chance the insects escape, I'm spraying some slippery Fluon stuff along the inside of it so they can't even grip on if they wanted to. I also have some other technology to put into the dream home, like this rectifogger. To use it, I basically just attach it to the side of the terrarium like this, and then I fill up the reservoir with water. Now, when I turn it on, it does this. Wow, very cool. I mean, that's not needed or anything, but it makes the tank look really cool and rainforesty. For the final step of the dream home, I bought tiny little bugs called isopods that I'm letting loose into the enclosure.
Come on, get out. Get out.
Isopods are basically the holy grail of bioactive terrariums because they do everything from cleaning up waste to stopping mold outbreaks. I mean, the scorpion will probably eat them, but it's worth putting them in because of all of their benefits. Well, I'd say this is pretty good for the dream home. Now it's time to surprise that Asian forest scorpion. So I went to the same pet store and sure enough, it was still there, just laying there very depressingly. I'm gonna save you. And of course, saving the scorpion meant forking up $21 so I could buy it.
Let's go, baby.
Remember, I built all of this stuff for the scorpion, so I want to see how he reacts once I let him in. But before adding in the scorpion, I figured I should probably give it a name so I could stop referring to it as just the scorpion. And since scorpions are so menacing and scary with their venomous stingers and sharp claws, it's gonna need a menacing name to match. So everyone, please say hello to Sir Fluffsalot. Isn't he so cute? Anyways, I was having trouble putting Sir Fluffsalot into his new home, so I had to resort to putting on gloves because I was too scared of getting stung.
Get off. No. Don't climb that. Do not climb out. Let go. Let go.
Eventually, I was able to push him out into his dream home, and he absolutely loved it. Okay, to be fair, I don't know if he actually loved it, but he probably did, because he was, like, walking around and stuff. I don't know. Anyways, now I want to utilize the insect dispenser and completely spoil Sir Fluffsalot with 3 types of prey, starting with the easiest to catch, a mealworm. Mealworms will probably be pretty easy to catch, because they, like, barely even move.
Bruh.
So I dropped some down the slide of doom, and immediately the scorpion noticed. He slowly approached the stupid worms and... what? Okay, apparently he's just stepping on them and isn't even eating them.
Bruh.
Let's try the second insect, a dubia roach, and maybe he'll eat that. Roaches move around a lot more than mealworms, so this may activate Sir Fluffsalot predator instincts more. The dubia roaches scurried in towards the center of the ecosystem, right where the scorpion was resting. And apparently this roach here is extremely stupid, because he literally walked over to the scorpion and started to climb on it. Sir Fluffsalot tried to warn the roach by giving it a little kick, but the roach didn't really understand that it was standing right next to its death right now, and literally tried to climb into the scorpion's mouth. But despite all of this, Sir Fluffsalot simply did not attack or eat the dubia roach. So I did some research to try and figure out why. And, oh, I'm stupid. You see, scorpions are nocturnal, so most of the day they actually spend sleeping, and typically prefer to only hunt at night. And honestly, I don't understand why scorpions get to sleep the whole day, because when I sleep the whole day, I get called lazy and unproductive. But that's besides the point. It seems like Sir Fluffsalot was just trying to get some sleep, so instead, I waited until night, and then dropped the final and juiciest prey in, crickets. Now Fluffy was ready to hunt. You may not see him now, but that's because he's sitting in his evil lair right behind a branch. I'm pretty sure he's waiting for innocent prey to stumble into a little hole he dug out right here, and then he'll kill them. Or maybe he's just still sleeping. But after a little while, a clueless cricket walked straight into it and couldn't get out. The cricket thought he was safe, but little did he know that the apex predator Sir Fluffsalot was watching his every move. When the time was right, Sir Fluffsalot leaped in and killed the cricket. Ooh, that's brutal. Fluffy now had a tasty meal for tonight to take back to his lair. The next morning, I wanted to test the fog machine with the Asian forest scorpions, so I turned that on and fog started to roll in. Honestly, I was expecting Sir Fluffsalot to react to the fog or something, but he kinda just sat there. Oh well, this machine will still be useful to make sure I can control the humidity levels and make sure the ecosystem has all the correct conditions. Sir Fluffsalot went from a tiny depressing little box to a big beautiful rainforest that mimics his natural environment. He seems to be enjoying himself, and he's gonna make a good addition to my pet collection. By the way, this is only my 4th ever video on YouTube, so if you...
I've scoured the internet for the craziest insect videos I could find. Beetles painting pictures, insane slow motions, and so much more. Anyways, our first video is this, which shows what happens when some dude left a piece of cheesecake out near his ant colony. And well, let's just say the ants didn't waste any time to absolutely start decimating it. If this doesn't show why you shouldn't leave food out, then I don't know what does. Dang. Now, as the video goes on, the clips get crazier and crazier. Where in this second clip, a guy got a video up on his phone of a bunch of butterflies flying around and put his pet mantises in front of it. And yeah, I guess the mantises must have been hungry, because you can tell this guy was absolutely locked in, ducking and weaving and lining up the perfect shot to attack the butterflies. But yeah, he was very confused why he couldn't grab it. He was trying multiple times. And then there was this mantis that was legit staring at the screen for a minute before he made his first attack. But yeah, for him it was no different. He couldn't really grab the butterflies either. First we got iPad kids, now we got iPad mantises. Really, bro? What's next? iPad frogs? Wait a second. That already exists. Okay. Okay, next is one of the craziest videos I've seen of ants. And you may not be able to tell what's going on right away, but you see this dangling thing? This is all ants. And it's like a bajillion ants all joined together, starting up at the corner of this roof, spanning all the way down. You can see so many ants grabbing onto each other's bodies to make a literal ant bridge. And on top of the bridge, you can see more ants just walking around on top of it, doing stuff like carrying eggs and food. And this bridge bridge goes all the way down, curves back up, and connects to a wasp nest. Yep, these ants are so genius, they built this bridge to straight up attack a wasp nest, and now they can probably feed their colony for days. Wow. And wait a second, if these ants can just stand on the roof here, why did they just walk from here to here? Are you guys sure this giant bridge was necessary? Okay, anyways, it's still crazy. Now for the next video, which shows this little thing. This is a beetle grub, and this is gonna show the process of how they grow up into a beetle over time. Oh, by the way, this is not a normal beetle species. This is the largest beetle species in the world, a Hercules beetle. And as the time goes on, you can see even just this grub starts getting much, much larger than what a normal fully grown beetle would be. And after literally over a year, this massive creature starts to go into its pupa stage, where you can see exactly how it transforms from a worm creature into a beetle. First, you can see the legs starting to grow, then the giant horns start to emerge from the head that the species have, and boom, after a long 500 days, the beetle emerges from its pupa, and yeah, that's how long it takes for one of these beauties to be born. By the way, it's so cool to watch these guys fly. This is not an edited sound or anything. It actually sounds like a literal helicopter when their wings are flapping. It's insane. Oh, and in these next videos, they show a ton of cool bugs crawling around on this guy's hand, like orchid mantises and leaf insects, which are super cool because they look like leaves, obviously. The main reason I'm showing you this is because this guy also lets other stuff crawl on him, like these insanely creepy creatures. Yeah, even I, Terra Green, would not let those crawl on me. What the heck even are those? But yeah, he also lets stuff go on his face, like this giant moth. Dang. And a Hercules beetle from earlier, which, like, dang, bro, you gotta be careful with. That giant horn could easily poke your eye out. But actually, respect to you for keeping all these insanely cool insects. It's actually so cool. Now, earlier, I showed mantises attacking the screen, but if you wanted to see what it looks like when a mantis eats real food, this is it. And actually, this is a massive locust, so it's pretty cool to see a mantis eat this whole thing, since it's pretty much as big as him. But first, the mantis starts devouring its head with its alien mouth, then it works its way down the body. And yeah, the mantis basically takes no breaks while eating. The endurance is actually pretty dang impressive. And by the end, there was nothing but scraps on the floor, and the mantis's belly was pretty dang big, which makes sense. He just ate a lot. This next video I found shows this insane time-lapse footage of leafcutter ants doing their signature thing, cutting leaves. In it, you can see how they all work together over time, cutting out these circular pieces to absolutely decimate this leaf till it's no more. The scientists that filmed it even got this super close-up footage showing exactly how their mandibles cut through the leaves, showing how it works almost super similar to how scissors work. It's crazy how some animals in nature have evolved to do this. But the coolest thing is how we got this footage that shows while a leaf might just start with one ant cutting it, that one ant will take her leaf back to the colony and let all the other workers know where that leaf is. So that way they can all swarm it and basically speed run to chop the whole thing up. Yeah, it's super cool how these guys work as a team. Have you ever wondered how so many ants are born? Well, it all starts when the queen ants and the male ants are mating, which is shown in this video. This is the queen ant and this is the male. And you can see exactly how much more massive the queens are than the males. And it's actually kind of funny because oftentimes many males will latch onto the same female all at the same time and try and mate at the same time. And sometimes the female will even try and fly while this is all happening, which doesn't exactly work very well with all that extra weight weighing her down. Yet somehow the males managed to stay clinging on. Dang. Okay, you won't believe this next video, because in it, a kid decided for some reason it'd be a good idea to get pet bed bugs. Yes, like the things that bite you when you sleep. He literally built them a natural standing enclosure and made a mini mattress for them to sleep under. And yeah, since they were his pet, he had to feed them. So he let them crawl on his arm and suck his blood. Yeah, if you couldn't already tell, this isn't just some random kid, this is me. Yeah, last year I made a video about getting pet bed bugs, but I just thought I had to get a spot on the craziest insect videos, because yeah, I had to be the first person to get pet bed bugs. But by the way, guys, my mom made me get rid of them for some reason. I don't know why. Mom, I was just wondering why you made me get rid of the pet bed bugs.
Because we don't want those in the house.
The pet bed bugs?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought they were cute.
No, they'll be biting us and we had to get rid of them.
Okay, next up, have you ever wondered how an ant stinger works? Well, whether you have or haven't, it's actually pretty interesting because this scientist caught an extreme close-up video exactly of how it works. Basically, he got an ant stinger right up to a thin layer of wax paper and let it pierce through it. And right as it pierces through, you can literally see droplets of venom drip off the end of the stinger. So yeah, every time time you're stung by an ant in the wild, on an extremely tiny scale, this is exactly what's happening under your skin. And the craziest thing is how thin these stingers are, because here they are next to a human hair. Yeah, the tip of the stinger is like half of the width of the hair. That is insanely thin. All right, you guys got to see this next video because it shows these beans. And yeah, you might be thinking, bruh, Terragreen, where's the insect? Well, check this out. These beans can quite literally jump, and that's because there's an insect inside of them. In fact, a larva of a moth is inside of these beans. And many larvas like this species have learned to jump by flinging the end of their tail against the ground. And when you look very closely at this bean, you can see the little larva inside flinging himself up against the top of the bean to make enough momentum to send it flying into the air. And in this time-lapse footage, you can see how they actually move a pretty good amount over the course of a few hours. But yeah, after about half a year inside of one of these beans, they turn into a moth that looks kind of like this. Pretty interesting. This next video is sick though, because in it, a dude decided to give his pet beetle some paintbrushes. And surprisingly, they actually took a hold of them perfectly. And yeah, they literally just started to walk around, dragging the edge of the paintbrush along the canvas, making a beautiful work of art. I mean, they weren't perfect, and they did paint a little bit on his table, but for the most part, they stuck to the canvas. He even let the beetles choose the colors they wanted to paint with. So yeah, you could say the beetles had full artistic control. And by the end, this is what it looked like. Now this is modern art. This could easily sell to some art museum for an insane amount of money, because like the fact that beetles painted this makes it so cool. I'm being so serious. Insect House, the guy that made this video, you could like actually reach out to some art museums and actually sell this thing for like $1 million. I've seen some crazy modern art sell for insane amounts of money. Actually do it, bro. I'm being serious. Okay, the next video shows something nasty, because we all know roaches, right? Like they're just some chill little insects. Well, I filmed this video that shows how they're born. And yeah, this isn't a clam or anything. This is an egg sac, and yeah, that's a ton of roaches coming out. Nah. Basically, when the mom roaches are ready to have babies, they develop their egg sacs in the back of their body, which you can see right here and here. And a day before they hatch, they drop them on the ground. And basically, each one of these slits in the egg sac is a baby roach that's about to hatch. And yeah, literally all at the same time, you can see the bottom of it starts to slowly expand. And these little white worm things start to poke out. And these are all the new roaches that are now born, and they're gonna go run around and find homes for themselves. Dang, sorry if you're eating, but to be fair, if you're eating, you probably would have clicked off the video by now. Alright, second to last video, and I've saved some of my favorites for last. Because in this footage, a guy put out this red sugar water and then let his ants loose near it. Obviously, ants are super attracted to sugar, so they started to swarm it. But the thing that's so interesting about these ants is that they're a special kind of species that can store extra liquid inside their abdomen. Yep, you heard that right, and you can see it super clearly in this footage. As this ant sucks up the sugar water, his abdomen gets way larger and way more red, and it's actually insane to see. But by far the coolest thing to see is this footage of one of the bigger ants who was full of sugar water going up to this empty ant and literally feeding it some of its sugar water. You can see this one's abdomen getting smaller as this one's gets bigger. And yeah, it's kind of nasty how they just regurgitate the food into each other's mouths, but they're ants. I don't really think they care. Okay, now our last video. This video shows a snail hatching from an egg, which is pretty cool to see because like I didn't even realize, but yeah, snails literally hatch with their shell. I don't know why I didn't really think to realize that, but yeah, they do. But the real reason I'm showing you this is because this is the most insane snail species of all time. Because this video also shows what happens over the months as this snail species grows up. It literally keeps getting larger and larger and larger, bigger than any snail species you've probably ever seen before, until after 3 years it is fully grown. And oh yeah, this is a giant African land snail, the largest snail in the entire world. And yeah, they are absolutely insane. The fact that this is bigger than a hand is like, what? I mean, what? Alright, that was all of the craziest insect videos I could find. It was brown, there was random trash, and somehow there was a live axolotl inside. Apparently, the seller's uncle gave it to him and he needed someone to take care of it for him. But $5. Dang, that's extremely cheap. Let me go save this axolotl. So I drove out to the seller and bought the tank with the axolotl for $5. Okay, I just got this in my car and we gotta take this home to see if the axolotl inside is gonna be able to survive. And I really hope it's okay because because if it is, I'm gonna completely revamp this home into a dream home paradise so we can give this axolotl his best life. Quickly, I went home and set up a filter in the water so I would be able to see inside. But after letting it run for 30 minutes, the water literally did not clear up at all. Okay, I have no time to waste, so I'm just gonna try and dig around and scoop it out with this net, even though I can't see anything. So I started to take each decoration out one by one, and it didn't take long until I saw this little thing at the bottom of the net. I had found the axolotl, and thankfully it was still in good health. So I quickly moved it out into a temporary tank and was super surprised by what I saw. Guys, this is not a normal axolotl. This is actually a super rare axolotl. It has the golden trait, and it also looks like it's albino and a baby. To put in perspective how rare this is, this whole tank was like $5, as you know. I could probably sell this right now as it is for over $100. And little did I know, this axolotl was even rarer than I thought. It actually had a special gene that made it be able to glow in the dark and more. Yeah, this video is insane. Anyways, to start the enclosure transformation process, step number 1 was to empty out that disgusting sewage water. Okay, I don't even know where to begin with how bad this tank is. Pretty much every decoration's a fake plastic one. The substrate is absolutely nasty, and just the whole thing has no structure to it. It's just plain ugly. So I took out all the trash decorations and threw them in the garbage where they belong. Then I emptied out all the sand, since I'm pretty sure that's what was causing the water to be so brown. And finally, what the heck is this, bro? Why did the seller's uncle just tape a picture of bamboo on the wall? It doesn't fit, and it doesn't even make sense. Like, axolotls don't live with bamboo. Yeah, that is so dumb. Let's rip this trash off of there. Anyways, now that we're back to the bare bones of this tank, the first step is to build the lake bed base. To build that, we start by just putting a ton of sand in here and piling it up in a mound in the middle of the tank because I have a cool idea for this. You see, axolotls live at the bottom of lakes in the wild, so to build that in here, I stuck some wooden branches in the sand and surrounded them in a ton of river rocks. Which, if you're wondering the names of them, this type is called a Tahaiji stone, and this one is called a Seiryu stone. Yeah, I don't know who names these, but I would just call them smooth stone and rough stone. Those are better names. Anyways, I also want to cover these mounds in tons of aquatic plants, which if you've seen my channel before, you know these are extremely expensive. I mean, look at all of these. This totals to $125. Please subscribe. Well, I forced myself to forget the price while I planted them around, and I made it look absolutely beautiful. I put the taller plants near the back of the mound and the smaller plants up near the front, since it adds some nice depth in here, or something like that. Alright, it's starting to look pretty good, but to complete the sides, this is where we're going to put the custom DIY builds. And you see, in the wild, axolotls like to hide in little rock caves because that's where they feel safe from predators. So I'm gonna build a custom little cave on the right side, and to start that, I found this basket in my house. Oh, this is gonna work perfectly. Let's just get that out of there. With this, I started by getting out a heavy-duty saw and cutting a hole in it that would serve as the entrance to the cave. And then I quickly sanded down the rough edges and used my hot glue gun to start gluing these little thin gray rocks all around it to obviously give it that cave look. And after I was done gluing all those on, it actually looked pretty solid. But as you can see, some of the hot glue I used to connect it was still exposed, so I quickly covered that in some pebbles. Once I was done, I put the enclosure in, and it didn't really fit. So I took it out and rearranged some of the rocks and put it back in, and boom, perfect fit. There we go. I think that cave looks pretty good in the grand scheme of things, and yeah, it is a pretty small entrance to get inside, but obviously the rare axolotl is still a baby, so it should be able to fit in there just fine. Anyways, I finished it off by putting some plants right out in front and a couple big rocks on top to make it look more cavey. There we go. Everything's starting to come together well, but now it's time to design the left side. And if you guys remember, that first version of the tank had this big, ugly, like bamboo wallpaper along the back. But anyways, this did actually get me kind of inspired, and for the left side, I want to make it just like bamboo themed, you know? We got to keep a little bit of the original, because I guess it wouldn't really be transforming if we didn't. So let's get that done. For the first decoration, I of course got out some brown sticks of bamboo, so it'd be bamboo-y, you know? And on each stick of bamboo, I started to drill little holes. You see, axolotls like to have resting spots near the top of their enclosures. That way they can easily swim up and gulp air from the surface. So to build something like that, I got out some string and started to thread all the bamboo together. I kind of felt like a grandma doing this, you know, sewing away with a needle. Yeah, it was pretty fun though. Anyways, I hot glued the ends of the string so they wouldn't move, and boom, check this out. A bamboo hammock that the axolotl can rest on. In order to get it attached to the the top of the enclosure, I once again used some hot glue to put on some little suction cups, and in no time it was complete.
All right, there we go. Check the hammock out. I'm sure the axolotl is gonna like to lay on this. And yeah, to complete this left side, we're gonna add a little more bamboo decoration. And so in the sand, I wanna put some live actual bamboo. It's curly for some reason, not really know why, but I'm gonna plant this in the sand.
So I put each of the bamboos there under the hammock and covered it in a mound of sand.
But I'm not done yet. I've been saving the coolest addition for last. And this next thing is gonna take this from a normal aquarium to, well, if I'm being honest, it's probably still gonna be kind of normal, but it's gonna be cooler looking.
Now to build this thing, I first got out some giant plastic boards and glued them together to make one giant board. Then I covered it all with some black felt.
Now you're probably wondering why I built this giant black platform.
But basically the reason is because I can go and put it right behind the tank just like this.
And then now what I'm gonna do is use these things called plant pockets, glue them to the back of that, and basically what this allows me to do is, you know, put plants in them, and we're gonna have some overhanging plants in here.
But first I needed to go get the plants, so like always I drove to Walmart.
Okay, I'm at Walmart now, and look at this. Bro, this is usually where all the plants are. For some reason, they replaced them all with plastic Christmas trees. Who cares about these? I want my plants back. All they got is these stupid roses.
Yeah, it turns out the plants are gone from Walmart for the season, so instead I had to go to a normal, boring plant shop and get the plants there.
Okay, I was kind of sad that I had to abandon Walmart, but this was only like $50 for all these plants. Like, dang, that's actually a good deal. It's definitely cheaper than those aquatic plants. We don't talk about those, though.
When I got home, I got out the plants and put them all inside their little pockets.
And dang, check this whole thing out. It actually looks all right. Just don't go around and look at the back. Yeah, it's kind of curving, but honestly, it kind of gives a cool effect, and you know, it makes the plant leaves drip over the top.
Anyways, now to complete the build, I just got to do some finishing touches, and what that means is I first filled it up with some cycled water and attached a filter on it.
Okay, I've never used one of these filters before, but apparently it's pretty cool.
I just got to go and plug it in down here.
And dang, check this out. Look, it's like a waterfall. It makes a bunch of these little water streams. But I guess when I want it to be quiet, I can just go like that, and there we go. Can't really hear it anymore.
Now I saved the best thing for last, this little gift present.
Okay, this is actually cool what's inside. Basically, it's this little glass crystal ball with a hologram of an axolotl inside. There we go. So what you do is you put it on this little platform, and basically it just kind of glows there and changes colors.
Anyways, this is now completely transformed, and it's time to not only add in the golden axolotl to his new home, but show off exactly what axolotls do during their days and show off how it can literally glow out of its temporary enclosure, and bada bing, bada boom, welcome to your new home. Right away, he started to explore around his new tank and eventually made his way into the cave I built for him.
Okay, so the axolotl's in the cave right now, so this is the perfect time to test out some foods with him to see which he likes the most. And first up, I want to test just some normal fish food. Yeah, I don't know if he's actually going to eat it. It's fish food, it's not axolotl food, but let's try it out.
So I dropped them in and let them sit for a little while, but yeah, he didn't really eat them, and he didn't even come out to take a look at them. A little later, the axolotl left the cave, so I got out the second food, bloodworms.
But these are frozen bloodworms, so to make them, you know, not frozen anymore, just kind of plop the packet in a little cup of water like that. And we can go and just take this big chunk and put it in right next to the axolotl.
And it didn't take long until he noticed it and instantly took a snap at it, eating the whole pile up.
And oh my gosh, he just ate that whole thing. Oh dang, he's hungry.
Anyways, I got the third and final food source out, night crawlers.
Which are just worms basically, but they're giant worms compared to those tiny little bloodworms. Okay, here we go. We got a nice little tiny piece of worm, and we're just gonna drop it in right next to the axolotl.
And after wiggling it around in front of him, he picked up the scent, and as you can expect, yep, he started going crazy, eating this worm up too.
He's absolutely just devouring this, just shaking it up. He's not letting this thing get away. That's a good axolotl. Oh my gosh, this guy's so cool. We actually got this guy for $5. I can't believe that.
Anyways, later that day, I was watching some videos about axolotls and figured out that sometimes they can be bred to literally glow in the dark under UV light. Which, I mean, look at that. That is just so cool.
Okay, so I got all the lights turned off in my room, and it's nighttime. So I got this little light, and when you click the button, it turns on the UV rays, and oh, that's blinding. But anyways, I just want to shine this in here and see if my axolotl actually has that glow in the dark ability. I actually have no idea if this is gonna work. Wait. Oh, okay, wait. I actually did not expect that to work. Oh, look at the axolotl. He's just glowing in the dark. Yeah, I don't really know what I expected, but it's actually pretty cool. So for whatever reason, if I can't find the axolotl, I just turn off the lights, click this button, and boom, you're found, buddy. You're never gonna be able to hide from me ever again. Also, by the way, I want to let you guys know we're trying to hit 1 million subscribers before the end of the year, which you know is about not a lot of time. So I'm sorry guys, but I gotta pull out the statistic. Check this out. Basically, it means only 7% of you guys watching right now are actually subscribed. And if everyone watching is subscribed, we'd be way past our goal. So anyways, just if you're enjoying this video, subscribe, please. Thank you.
Anyways, axolotls have so much cool stuff about them that I didn't even cover in this video, and I'll definitely be making more videos about this guy in the future. So if you got any cool name suggestions, comment them down below. Remember to check out the merch and get it while the sale lasts. Thanks for watching, and click the video on the screen to watch another. For the build, you already know we're going to be starting with some aqua soil, which is super important for making sure our plants grow nice and strong. But if you've seen my channel before, you know this soil can make the water extremely dark and dirty. So this time I've come prepared with a bunch of sand. We're going to give this a nice clean coat on top of the soil, and in order to make it look not so flat, I made this little sand hill in the left corner. But now that we've got about 1 inch of soil and about 1/4 an inch of sand, we can start getting cool decorations in here. And first up, let's just focus on the wood.
And yeah, I'm Terra Green, so we got some pretty good options for wood. In fact, in this closet, I think we got a lot of wood in here. Shoot, I forgot how much there was in here. This would have been useful for some past videos.
Anyways, I gathered them all up and brought it over to the mega tank. Since the wood will kind of be the base of everything, I really took a bit of time to find the exact pattern and types of wood that I liked most. And after a little while, I ended up deciding on this. I kind of liked how all the wood was in this one area, and hopefully by the end, it's all gonna look like tree trunks growing out of the water. But for now, I actually have to take the pieces of wood out and throw them in a bathtub.
Now, technically, I don't think we have to do this, but basically the thinking is if we let this soak up a bunch of water inside the wood, when we go and add the water inside of our fish tank, the wood won't just like float to the top, because that's a problem sometimes I have. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave this here for a few hours.
After a couple hours, I went and put them back in the tank, added the price to the total, and now it's time to add in some rocks. We're gonna keep it simple, just a couple pretty big gray rocks scattered around that I bought from an aquarium store earlier, and I figured it'd be cool to kind of blend the gray pattern into the sand more, so I used a bunch of these tiny gray pebbles to do that to all the rocks around. And with that, I would say the base decorations of the enclosure are complete. Now we gotta do the DIY decorations.
And this is where it gets fun, because right in this area right there, I want to build a custom fish statue, because I don't really know why. I just think it'll be cool or something.
Now if you're wondering how I'm gonna do this, well, first of all, I set up a table next to the tank that I could work on, but then I got out this brick and some chisels. Yep, I'm gonna carve this brick into a fish sculpture. This probably isn't gonna go so well. But quickly before doing that, as you know, I could the hammer, but it wasn't really effective. So I took the chisels out of their package and instead used the hammer to smack the back of it. And basically, I just did that over and over and over and over, very carefully, trying not to break it. I did make one mistake by accidentally breaking off a big piece of the base, but I quickly fixed it up until it was done.
Well, here it is. My first ever statue I sculpted out. And besides a few things I kind of messed up on it, I would say this belongs in the museums besides the greatest works of sculpts of art of ever. But yeah, anyways, let me just put this in right there and boom.
But I still kind of felt like something was missing, so I bought a very important addition, googly eyes.
There we go, that's what it was missing. If you think I should try building a statue again in a future video, let me know in the comment. And also, let me know what to build. Don't make it too hard though. I don't really want to build anything too hard.
Now for the next DIY decoration, let's make a custom aquarium background. You see, many people add these backdrops, which make the back of their aquariums blue, or they can have stone textures. But since it was so big, I actually routed my hose through my window. That way I could just turn on the faucet and it would fill up. And it only took about 15 minutes for it to fully fill up.
Now, I don't actually want to just only fill this up with water, because if I had put a fish in here right now, it would die.
You see, this is because fish poop, obviously. But in aquariums, the poop actually dissolves into the water, which over time, the fish will have to breathe, and obviously, poop water isn't good for the fish. So we need to do something called cycling, which will add bacteria that eats the poop before the fish breathes it. So I added in a couple products that did just that. Then I even sprinkled in a little bit of fish food, which will basically feed the bacteria I just added and make it stronger so it can break down the poop even better. But anyways, I had to wait a whole 12 days until the cycling was done.
So yeah, now you probably know why I don't show that every video, but in the meantime, I was able to go and pick up, you know, the backdrop. Yeah, looks pretty good.
So I put that behind the tank, and now I would say we're ready for step 4, adding in the aquatic plants. So I quickly drove to the store to go buy some.
Okay, I'm at Petco, and I have a feeling I'm about to spend a lot of money. Because if you look over here at the plants, it's $11 for this tiny plant. And a medium-sized one is even more. And, well, I need like 50 of these.
So I picked out all the ones I liked and bought them. I even ended up going to another pet store to buy all of their stock. So by the time I got home, I was absolutely stacked with aquarium plants.
If you're wondering, the total came out to $593. Yeah, that's kind of sad. But anyways, let's just get to planting them. Let's go.
First of all, I drained the cycled water into a tub to make it easier to plant. Then I went in and started to put the smaller plants in the front, the medium plants, you know, in the middle, and the large plants in the back, of course. I even had a couple plants left over, so I started to scatter them along the wood to fill up the tank even more. Finally, I filled it back up with water, and by the end, this is what it looks like. And well, dang, I would say this is pretty good. Nice job, me. You did a good job building this. And now that the tank is complete, it's time to do the last thing. Stock it with fish, and oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Usually, I buy my fish online, but this time, I wanted to head to the biggest fish store in my state that will 100% have some insane species of fish. This is gonna be like a 4-hour drive, so let's go. Thankfully, you guys don't have to watch the whole 4 hours because of the magical power of editing, but anyways, here's the store.
Okay, well, I made it, but I'm not gonna lie, this place kind of looks small. Was this worth the 4-hour drive?
But when I walked inside, I figured out that this was definitely worth driving 4 hours for, because look at this. They had like 7 of these aisles that were just absolutely stacked with the different fish species. There were so many options, and so many of the fish just looked so cool, and I wish I could buy them all, but I ended up choosing and buying just 4 different species, which I'm gonna keep a secret until I put them in the tank.
All right, the goods have been gotten, and if you're wondering, the total came out to $500. But anyways, let's just go home.
So I quickly drove the 4 hours back.
All right, now it's time to add in the fish. Now I've got 4 different species that all have some sort of unique special ability, but for now, we got the first fish species right here.
These are balloon mollies, and I've got 14 of them, which should fill up the tank pretty nicely. And after a little bit, they all swam out the net to start exploring around the tank. Instantly, they all kind of just grouped up, and they seemed like they were having an amazing time looking around their new home. Now, I did say that every fish I was gonna add has a special ability, and these guys, they have an ability, it's just not that special. You see, mollies like these guys will constantly just swim around the tank, sucking up sand or taking nips at the plants. And the reason they do this is because they're actually able to filter out microscopic little food particles from the sand and the leaves. And yeah, they basically just spend all day swimming around looking for something to eat.
Anyways, fish number 2 is in here.
These are hillstream loaches, and yeah, there's 5 of them in here, which you might not even be able to tell. And yeah, they definitely aren't your average fish species, but they're insanely cool, so I put them all inside the tank. Instantly, they swam down to the bottom because these loaches are bottom dwellers, which means they spend basically all their time just chilling on the floor. But what makes these cool is not only that they look like stingrays with those flaps coming out of the body, but those flaps actually have an important purpose. You see, hillstream loaches are able to suction their body to surfaces like the side of the glass by pressing their fins down. And this basically lets them just swim along the glass and eat up any sort of algae or biofilm that grows there. Technically, these guys can get almost all their food on their own by doing this.
Man, I love these guys. They literally look like little aliens that'll suck at your face. Yeah, they're pretty cool, but the third fish is even cooler.
These are clouded archerfish, the biggest fish I'm gonna be adding. And I've shown archerfish in videos before, but these clouded ones are a bit different and they're gonna go well in the tank. But the thing is, right after adding them in, the mollies actually kind of started to surround them to inspect their new tank mates. I did carefully watch this to make sure no fights broke out, because these archerfish can be slightly aggressive at times. But after a couple minutes, the mollies stopped surrounding the archerfish and they started to swim around. Now you see, archerfish basically spend all their time at the top of the water, and they do this for a very special reason. That's because archerfish's special ability is they're able to spit a little stream out of the water into the air, specifically to knock types of bugs into the water so they can eat them. It's absolutely crazy, and I just had to try it with these guys, so I got out a cricket onto my hand and just kind of held it above the water. I held it there for a few minutes, and the closest one got was this archerfish, who was just sitting right under my hand. But I guess he couldn't see the cricket moving or anything, because he didn't even try to spit water at it.
Well, shoot, none of the archerfish are trying to eat this thing right now. But I do actually have a video about a year ago I posted about the 7 weirdest fish, where I actually showed the archerfish shooting. And as you can see, it's super cool and super satisfying once it actually does. And yeah, they just basically gulp the cricket out the water once they land it in. It's very cool. But anyways, now it's time for the 4th and final fish species, which is right here. And in fact, it's actually not a fish at all.
These are brine shrimp, and in fact, they're actually not meant to be kept as pets at all, because they actually actually live in salt water. But many aquarium owners will use these guys as a food source for their fish because they're very nutritious. And so I just had to try and feed some of my new fishies. So I poured the brine shrimp into a water gun. And yes, I did have to put them inside a water gun. I couldn't find any syringes or anything to suck them up with. But anyways, I started to just shoot the water gun into the water. And every time I shot it, you can see a few of these little white specks came out of the stream. These are the brine shrimp. And after I started to shoot the gun a little closer to some of the fish, at first you can tell they were kind of scared and probably thought I was trying to attack them or something. In fact, it took a couple minutes before I noticed the first fish starting to eat the shrimp. But oh boy, was this fish absolutely loving it. He was just going around gulping up shrimp after shrimp. I guess they're just super tasty to the fish because over time, pretty much every fish ended up getting their fair share of this food. Well, all the fish have been put into this tank and it's completely built up. So I would call this a...
Are actually some of the coolest animals in the world. So to cure my mom's fear of spiders, I'm gonna buy the coolest spider species in the world, which is called a Goliath bird-eating tarantula. Supposedly, this spider will be able to grow up to a foot long, shoot poisonous hairs out of its back, and yes, literally eat birds. Yeah, my mom's gonna love it. Anyways, the first step to keeping one of these as a pet is to buy it. And since Goliath bird-eating tarantulas are so exotic, the only place I can get one is online for $100.
Alright, I guess let me just buy this thing, add to cart, check out, and there we go. It says it's gonna be here in 7 days.
So to prepare for when it arrived, I went out and bought an enclosure and $400 worth of supplies that would let me build a tarantula dream home that would have everything it could possibly want. Then when finished, I'll be showing the tarantula to my mom. Okay, let's get to building. I think the first step to making this enclosure is to create the backdrop. Now this repti habitat kind of already comes equipped with this paper rainforest backdrop, but it's paper. Get this trash out of here. I'm gonna make this thing actually look good, and to do so I have some spray foam which I gotta shake up and spray all along the back of the glass. But I'm trying to make this backdrop look like an actual forest, and this obviously doesn't look like a forest. So I quickly covered most of it with some pieces of wood before it dried, and then I hit the rest of the foam with some dirt. But that's only the first step. I've still got tons more stuff planned for this tarantula, like building a custom burrow for it with literal furniture inside. Yes, I am going all out. But before I'm able to do that, I need to first create the floor, which I'll start by using these Leica balls. Oh, they're falling out. Which will be used to create the drainage layer. And by putting this layer of weed barrier on top, it will allow water to pass through, but not stuff like dirt, which will help prevent mold outbreaks. Now, obviously, to finish the floor, I've got to add dirt on top of the drainage layer, which for some reason, the dirt I bought is compressed into this brick. I don't know who made the dirt into a brick. That's kind of dumb. Anyways, to expand it, I just have to add water, do some mixing, and it ends up looking like dirt, as you'd expect. But to make the dirt even more natural looking, I mixed in some moss, bark, leaves, and potting soil mix, which ended up looking pretty nice. The floor is now done, and you might still be thinking this enclosure is overall pretty ugly, and I'd probably have to agree with you on that, but of course I'm not done yet. And I've still got some crazy stuff planned to prove to my mom that spiders are cool. But before I can do any of that, let's make this enclosure actually look nice with plants and decorations. To start off, let me drive off to the plant store, also known as Walmart, and pick out some pretty plants. And while I was there, I also had to buy some Mr. Beast chocolate because he keeps telling me to buy them every time I watch his videos. Beast of Awards!
Kind of unrelated with the video, I just wanted to try it. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, the plants have all been acquired, but now I've got to get some moss. Now, unfortunately, the only type of moss stores near me sell is sphagnum moss, and this stuff is ugly. To make the enclosure actually look good, I need to get carpet moss, which can only be obtained by going outside. So, I gotta go outside.
Yo, look at this. They got mossy cobblestone for Minecraft in real life. Okay, I don't really know how moss works. Can I just, like, grab it? Yeah, that kind of works.
So I got out some bags and got to grabbing it and putting it in the bag. So now I had everything I needed, and I got straight to the decorating process. Decorating is a skill that must be acquired from years of experience and wisdom, which is why I am so good at it. After the plants, I scattered around some wood, which I bought from Amazon, and finally I put this super cool looking skull in there, because you know, tarantulas, they're deadly, and skulls, I don't know, it looks cool. Oh my god, look at this terrarium right now. This is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's kind of beautiful. It's pretty good. Now, I could just leave it at this and add the bird-eating tarantula right now. But if I really want to prove to my mom that spiders are cool, I'm gonna have to create even more stuff in this enclosure to impress her and, of course, the tarantula too. So, like I said earlier in the video, I'm gonna create a luxurious burrow for the tarantula to sleep in. So, for the base of it, I dug out a nice big area right next to the glass, and I put a little cork bark log on top to make it nice and dark inside. But of course, this is just a normal burrow, and I'm gonna make this thing luxurious. So to do so, I'm gonna add some decorations inside, like a picture on the wall and a rug on the floor. Firstly, I'll do the picture frame, which I designed on my computer to be a nice, beautiful picture of a bird, which supposedly the Goliath bird-eating tarantula is gonna be able to eat, which later in this video, I'll be testing to see if that's actually possible. Anyways, to finish this picture, I drove to the store to print it out and did some arts and crafts to glue the picture onto the picture frame. Okay, you gotta admit, I am an artist. I drew this picture from scratch. That deserves, yeah, you see that, what that says? Yeah, you gotta do that. Just scroll down and do that right now. You just do it, please. Also, I don't know why my fingers are green, so don't ask. There we go, baby. We can check the picture frame off. Now let's finish this burrow with a rug. To create the rug, I was gonna originally just cut a piece of the living room rug off, but I realized if I did that, my mom might get mad. So instead, I got some leftover carpet moss and just slid that in there like that. Oh, dang. This moss actually looks super comfy. I bet the spider's gonna have a nice time sleeping on that fluffiness, comfiness moss. Yeah, that's pretty comfortable. Now for the final step of creating the tarantula's dream enclosure, we need to make it bioactive. And what that means is basically just add some tiny life into it to make it into a real ecosystem. So first, I got these silver springtails, which are so tiny that I have to get a special zoom lens just to be able to barely see one of them. There's about 1,000 of those guys in all of these rocks, so I'm just gonna scatter them around the enclosure like this. These springtails apparently eat decaying matter and help with the natural decomposition process. Yeah, I don't really know what that means, and I don't really care about all that. I just think they look cool, so that's why I'm adding them. And speaking of cool looking stuff, check these guys out. These are Oreo isopods, which are basically just roly-polies, except they got the colors of Oreo cookies, so they're way cooler. Well, welcome to your new home, boys. If the tarantula gets hungry, he might just eat you guys, so sorry about that. And okay, they're already escaping. Stupid bug. To finish off the process of making it bioactive, I gotta create the ability to simulate weather events, so I got a water misting machine and a fog machine to create rain and fog, obviously. Wow, very cool. And of course, I can create lightning by flipping my studio light on and off. This natural enclosure is completely finished and ready for the bird-eating tarantula to live in it. And after adding him into the enclosure, I'll be showing off his unique abilities and seeing if he can actually eat a bird, all in front of my mom, to see if I can convince her that spiders are actually cool. So yeah, the spider will be delivered later today. Just cut to that. And okay, I think this is it. The tarantula is in this box. And oh shoot, I dropped it. And oh shoot, I just stepped on it. Oh no. I'm just kidding. The tarantula is actually safe and sound in this little temporary enclosure I put him in. And well, here it is, the Goliath bird-eating tarantula. And I know it may just look like any ordinary tarantula, but in reality, this is literally just a baby. Yeah, this thing will eventually grow to be a foot long. I don't even know if it's gonna fit in this enclosure. Anyways, to add the tarantula into his new home, I got some safety equipment and moved his container into the enclosure. Okay, well, the spider is in his new home now. And, okay, I think he's sleeping. Since spiders are nocturnal, I turned off the lights to trick him into thinking it was nighttime so he would move around. And of course, it worked. Yeah, spiders are pretty stupid. Eventually, he even made his way into the burrow I built for him. But my mom is still at work, so before she gets home, I'm gonna make sure the spider is nice and hungry by feeding it a juicy cricket. And when my mom gets home, we'll be feeding him much more. Anyways, for now, I turned off the lights to get the tarantula into predator mode, and then I dropped the cricket inside. You see, tarantulas like mine have thousands of tiny hairs that pick up vibrations in the air. So this bird-eating tarantula knew there was a cricket standing right next to him. And a few moments later, he made his move. Okay, well, I think we know the tarantula's pretty hungry now. So let me wait for my mom to get home and we'll show her how cool this spider is. This is gonna be fun. Alright, are you ready to see my new pet?
No.
Okay, it's in there. Can you guess where it is inside of the enclosure?
Oh my gosh. No, I don't want to. Is it really poisonous?
Yeah, if it bites you, you'll probably get like, you might die. But, okay, do you want to know where it is and see it?
Not really.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to.
Underneath that, right there.
Okay, yeah, it might be.
Dude. Ah! Oh my god, dude. Are you serious? God, no. I hate spiders. It's not funny.
I've got this to try and prove to you that they're cool. So basically, it's gonna grow to 11 inches long.
no.
So if its legs are out, it'll go like that long.
Now, I want to find out if the tarantula is actually capable of eating a bird. So I got a frozen mouse from Petco to simulate the scenario because obviously I couldn't feed it a real bird.
Basically, in this bag is a frozen mouse from Petco, and it's humane and everything, and it's important to feed the tarantula a variety of food. I just need you to take the handle.
Oh my god. Dude, I'm scared to put my hand in there, dude.
You're not gonna. Okay, just do it.
Matt?
I'll move it in closer.
Ew.
So yeah, it's just holding on to the mouse. I think it's just puts its fangs into it.
Oh my.
Oh, it just hit the back of its abdomen, and you see those little orange hairs on it?
Yeah.
Whenever it hits the back of the abdomen, those fly in the air and they go in your eyes and poison your eyes.
What the?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Can it do that to humans?
Yeah, if you stand too close of it, your eyes are gonna get super rashed.
What?
Is that cool?
No, not really.
Can you just stick out your hand like this and then stick it inside and pick up the tarantula?
Oh, no.
It's fine, it doesn't even hurt if it
yeah,
bites.
sure.
I just showed you everything it has to offer. Do you think this is cool? And did I change your mind about spiders?
Absolutely not.
I didn't change your mind about spiders?
Nope, we gotta get rid of it.
Okay, well, I guess in hindsight, maybe buying the biggest tarantula in the world wasn't a good idea to cure my mom's fear of spiders. Well, this tarantula will make a good addition to my pet collection, and since he doesn't have a name yet, whatever the most liked comment on this video is, will be what I name him. I'll literally name him anything, so go to the comments and like your favorite suggestions. Also, subscribe to the channel to see future videos about him. Alright, thanks for watching, bye. Subscribe and click the video on the screen, bye.
I just found this video where a guy named Coyote Peterson lets a black widow crawl all over his arm. Watching this made me think that maybe black widows weren't as vicious as I thought, and maybe I could keep one as a pet.
I guess this should be the Black Widow. And I genuinely think this is the most venomous pet I've kept on the channel. But anyways, let's go open this up.
So I brought it to my table and opened the package up. After carefully taking out the packing material, I then took out the container that had a black widow spider inside.
Oh, nah, here it is. A literal Black Widow. But I did just figure something out because apparently I didn't order just one of these. If you look down in this box, I actually ordered 2 more. Yeah, apparently I accidentally placed the order for a 3-pack. So now I have 3 Black Widows.
But I wanted to take a closer look, so I opened up a container to let a spider out. And I guess it was a bit busy because instantly it fell on its back to reveal that iconic red hourglass shape, which warns you that this spider is nothing to mess around with. It has a potent bite.
Oh, shoot, it's trying to escape. Put it in the container, okay. Whew. I gotta be more careful with these things, man.
But these 3 spiders aren't gonna spin webs in these tiny containers. They were gonna need a proper enclosure, which I needed to build by first covering a bunch of spray foam with dirt and wood chip stuff to make the background. But in the middle, I put in this rock background and spray foamed normal rocks to it. You see, I'm gonna separate the enclosure into a forest, a cave, and a home interior to see where black widows like to make webs and hunt the most. For the home interior part, I got a piece of styrofoam and painted a brick pattern onto it to, make it look like a brick wall like a lot of homes have, and so I spray foamed that in, and the background was now complete.
And now we gotta do the web building bases. Basically what that means is we just put sticks and stuff so the spiders can spin their webs in here.
To start, I'm gonna lay down a simple substrate across the entire enclosure that I'll be able to customize to each environment. But first of all, the forest, and as I'm sure you can imagine, we're gonna put some wood in here, just enough on the 2 sides for a solid web to be made in between. And then I'm even gonna glue some moss coming down from the ends of the branches so it sort of looks like leaves on a tree.
And then I'm gonna get this bag of leaves that I bought. And don't ask me why I didn't just pick them up from outside. I don't know why I bought these.
But anyways, with those, I scattered them along the bottom, so it looked like a forest floor with all the fallen leaves everywhere. And last but not least, I got some tiny rocks and scattered them around too. Just a few, because I gotta save most for the cave. And speaking of the cave, we're gonna start right away by laying down some rocks, because that's pretty much all they got. But as you can see in this photo, there's actually a bunch of these pointy rocks called stalagmites. And I think they would work perfectly in my enclosure, so let me get some.
Alright, so I've got a big rock and a hammer right there. So I guess let me just try to carve some of those stalagmites out of this. So I guess I'll just go and try and hit it. I don't really know if this is gonna work, but you're gonna break.
Eventually, after a bit of hitting, I got a few pieces that when connected sorta looked like stalagmites, so I went and attached them together with spray foam. And then using more spray foam, I stuck them all into place pointing up in the cave section of the enclosure. Finally, I went and sprinkled some normal colored rocks around and then some different colored rocks around because, yeah, we literally just put rocks everywhere for this section.
Alright, once this spray foam dries, I'm gonna go in and paint it, but for now, let's work on the home interior section. And to start, I've got this carpet-like material, which I'm gonna cut out to shape, and then I'm just gonna go and put it in there, and boom.
Now I need to get some mini home furniture in here that the spider will be able to spin his webs from.
And my only idea for how I can get that is to build it with some Legos. So yeah, let's get building, baby.
First of all, using black bricks, I stacked them up to make this little lampshade thing. Then with some red bricks, I made a tiny little couch. Now a chair made of brown bricks. Finally, I just took the rest of my bricks to make a randomly color assorted red and white shelf. Yeah, I'm a master builder, as you can tell. Anyways, I went and put each of those inside and even got some little dollhouse furniture to fill in the dead space, and boom, shakalaka. That's what I call a home house interior. I know a lot of Black Widows love to live inside houses, so one of them should definitely like this place.
But the next step on the list is to get some plants.
Put the two land plants in the forest section, which as you can see, I ended up getting a beautiful red plant to match the red on Black Widows. Then I took apart the plant from Home Depot and glued the vines coming down from the top of the cave section. Finally, I glued some more moss all along the forest section because I felt like it wasn't green enough. And then I added a bit of this dead type of fern moss along parts of the cave because I felt like it matched pretty well.
Oh, and I almost forgot the most important part, the stupid AI generated pictures for the house interior.
So I cut them out and glued them along sides of the brick wall. There were many great works of art, like a Black Widow flying in the sky with wings, a Black Widow dancing in a disco room, and a Black Widow eating a male after mating, which yes, they actually do that in the wild. Now you see in the wild, Black Widows are actually cannibals towards other female Black Widows, which means my 3 Black Widows cannot be able to access each other, or, you know, they'd probably eat each other.
So I've got these acrylic sheets, which should act as good separators.
So I went and measured them to size and then cut them out.
There we go, that fits perfectly. And now last but not least, I'm gonna put in one of these reptile foggers.
Basically, when you turn this dial, it spits a bunch of fog out the end of this tube. Black Widows love a high humidity to make their webs, so this should encourage them to do that quickly. And well, I would say this enclosure is now 100% complete, but that does mean I gotta actually let the Black Widows loose in here, which I'm kind of scared to do, but let's just do it.
And as you can see, I've got the 3 Black Widows in their own little containers. So I've got the first one. Let's let this guy loose into the forest. Then I'm gonna put the second one into the cave section like that. Then finally, the 3rd Black Widow in the home interior section.
And while all the spiders were now in their new home, I took an interest to the one in the forest area. You see, this one immediately started to crawl all around her new home and even made her way up to the roof of the enclosure. There on the roof, you can see she started to walk around with a little strand of silk coming out the end of the abdomen. She was already building a web. Spiders, of course, do this to catch prey, and Black Widows in specific have some of the strongest silk out of any spider, which is somehow produced in these little silk glands that they have. Anyways, I left the Black Widow to continue with that, and the next day I came back and opened up the top of the enclosure. You could see the area where she was constructing the web, and now she was hiding in this little crevice.
So much for building this enclosure. I built all this forest area just for the spider to make her web right in this little area. Well, at least she has something, because that means now I can try and feed her a bunch of different types of food to see which they like the most, starting with mealworms.
Now I wanted to start small, and as you can see, these mealworms I bought are absolutely minuscule. They're barely the size of the tip of my finger, but hopefully the spider will still like them. Using some tweezers, I dropped a mealworm straight into the spider's web, and immediately it started to squirm around to try and escape. But spider webs are specifically designed to keep little insects like this stuck in them. All the wiggling around made the Black Widow come awake, and soon it even crawled out, only to walk right by the mealworm and run away. In fact, this Black Widow tried to make a grand escape, and even webbed down the side of my table onto the floor.
Oh, no. Do not go under the table. Do not go under the table.
Anyways, I ended up scooping it into a container where I then dropped another mealworm in front of him, and once again, he didn't want to eat it.
Okay, well, clearly this black widow's not trying to eat any mealworms, so instead, I've got a bag of some tiny little crickets.
And these I'm gonna feed to the second black widow in the cave area. Now, if you remember, I put this spider in the enclosure on this little plastic lid where I already had a web. And since putting it in 2 days ago, it still hasn't moved at all. It might be dead actually. But anyways, I put in some crickets to see if it would eat. And literally right away, one of the crickets jumped towards the spider and jolted him awake, which I guess was a good sign because the spider was now finally moving. But when I tried to bring the cricket back, it scared the spider and it ran away into the cave. I almost lost track of the spider until I came across her again on top of the enclosure where she had somehow escaped to. I tried to feed her a cricket once again, but she just was not having it, so I scooped her back into the plastic container.
Well, it looks like this black widow is also not eating, which usually would mean I would go test the third and final food source, which was gonna be just crickets, but a bit bigger. But I kind of have bad news because I don't really have a spider to feed these to.
Yes, you heard that right. Since putting the third spider into the house interior section 2 days ago, I haven't seen it at all. It literally escaped my enclosure. And now, not only did I have one missing, but I also had 2 more that weren't eating.
This is genuinely the worst idea I've had for a video. Like, pet black widow. Like, what am I thinking? One has escaped and is literally crawling around my garage. There's only one way I can make this up for the content. I gotta let the black widow crawl on my arm, just like I saw Coyote Peterson do at the start of the video. So, let's not waste any time. Let me get my mom in here. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
All right, I'm bringing you in here today because I got a special job for you. As you know, I always keep the weirdest pets. And can you guess what pet's in here based off the decorations?
Oh my gosh. Is it a black widow?
Yeah, it's a black widow.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you see those paintings on the wall?
Yeah, I do.
A black widow? Isn't that cool?
No.
Why? Okay, I got them onto this little tray for you. And basically, you can see it right there. What do you
No,
think?
no.
Say hi.
No. I wouldn't keep that as a pet.
Why? It's cute. Well, I did say I have a job for you. So can you hold the camera?
Oh my gosh, you are not gonna put this on you.
Here, hold the camera. All right, as you see, we got the black widow in a nice little clear container. And I'm just gonna start by literally putting it on my sleeve like this until it crawls out.
You see, the plan is to have it crawl onto my sleeve, and then from there, it'll crawl onto my hand. So I basically just waited until it started to crawl out.
I have to be super calm right now.
But as you could have guessed, of course things went wrong. Because as you can see, it just started to grasp onto the edge of the container and not let go at all. I was probably making it pretty mad, so I quickly transferred it to a piece of cardboard.
Okay, so I decided to just put them onto a piece of cardboard, and I'll let them crawl out here.
And after gathering together a bunch of courage, I just moved the cardboard in front of my hand to let it happen.
Okay, I'm gonna do it in 3, 2, 1.
Lord Father, Jesus, please. Oh God, Lord Father, please. Okay, it's time to go off. It's time to go off, Lord Father.
Oh,
Oh, that was so nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh, how did you feel doing that?
the heart was going 500 beats a second.
Well, there you have it. Probably the stupidest. Have a good day, or night, or afternoon, or morning, and goodbye, and subscribe too. I went out and got 5 levels of insect stings that get progressively more painful. And I got my friend named Sai to take on this sting challenge.
I'm here to get stung by a couple insects, yeah?
Yep, that's right. And if you look at this paper, it's actually gonna start with only $100 if you take on the first sting, but by the end, you'll be able to win $10,000 if you take on the last sting.
$10,000 is no small amount of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, what's the $100 though?
$100, why don't you go and peel that off? You can figure out what it is.
Ants?
Yep, for $100, you're gonna have to put your hand on an ant nest for 30 seconds, meaning you might get stung multiple times. Are you still down to do this?
Still down.
Oh, you're still down. Let's go. Come on, follow me.
So I took him down a trail by my house till we found a harvester ant nest. Despite these guys being pretty small, they actually have pretty painful stings. But yeah, it's pretty much nothing compared to the stings later in this video.
For $100, put your hand on the ant nest in 3, 2, 1.
Now, Sai has to keep his hand here for 45 seconds to win. But unfortunately, it wasn't looking good for him because immediately workers started to swarm onto his hand.
It's super tickly. I haven't gotten bitten yet.
No stings or anything?
Not yet.
You're straight up on their nest and they're not even defending it. These ants suck.
But oh boy, did things quickly start escalating, because out of nowhere, like 15 more ants started swarming onto his hand to investigate what it was. Still not stinging it though.
Do you feel anything?
It's just super tickly. I don't know if I haven't felt any anything sharp just yet.
And I was thinking he wasn't gonna get stung at all as the timer started to run out. 3, 2, 1, and...
Oh my God, ow. Oh.
Yeah, so apparently Sai literally got stung at the very last second, but by just one ant, thankfully.
Oh, that's sharp. That feels really sharp. It's like a tiny little needle. That feels really sharp.
But the thing is, that was only sting number 1. This video still has a way crazier stings coming up, ending with the cow killer.
You can either take the $100 right now, or you can say yes to the $500 challenge. What are you thinking?
You know what? Let's do it. $500.
All right, follow me.
Alrighty.
Now, I quickly brought Sai to the place where the second insect sting was gonna take place.
Welcome, Sai. You said you wanted to take on the $500 sting challenge, is that right?
Yep.
All right, then, why don't you go and just peel that off?
And so he peeled the sticky note off.
A wasp.
Yup, it's a wasp.
Oh man. I remember being super young and getting stung by one of these. I cried for 3 hours.
Oh, and this is only the $500 sting. The 10,000 sting is a lot worse. But don't worry, you can walk away at any time if you want.
No, this is only level 2. I'm gonna keep going.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So I got out the container that had a wasp inside. This is a yellow jacket, and they're known for their insanely sharp sting. So this should be pretty interesting.
All right, Sai, let's waste no time. You got the wasp there. He looks pretty angry. For $500, get your arm out and put that cup on your arm.
Alrighty.
Yup, so we went and put the cup on his arm at the place where he was gonna get stung.
All right, Sai, I'm gonna start pulling it out. Oh, wow, this thing is
it's
getting
mad.
mad. All right, I'm just gonna pull the paper towel out and let's see if it stings. It's really mad, Sai.
It's getting mad.
Pause. By the way, I gotta mention this, but do not try this at home, obviously. As a YouTuber, I've taken tons of safety precautions behind the scenes to make sure this is a safe test. And similar to why Coyote Peterson gets stung by all those crazy bugs, our goal today is to figure out which bug actually has the craziest sting and make an entertaining video. Anyways, let's get back to the wasp. Yep, this dude was furious trying to escape, but wasn't immediately stinging, surprisingly. I think because the wasp didn't even know that there was an arm under him. He might have just thought that this was floor under him.
Let me tap the side of the glass. Maybe we can get him mad. Sting him. $500, Mr. Wasp.
It's literally on my skin, bro. Just stick it in already.
And thankfully, Sai's wish came true immediately after he said that, because this happened.
Okay.
Stung you? Wait, you actually just got stung, Sai?
Yep. It definitely hurts more than I remember.
How much is it hurting, like out of 10, you would say?
A 6 or 7 out of 10.
6 or 7, come on, bruh.
And yeah, if he's already saying these are about a 6 out of 10 on the pain level, then I can't even imagine what he's gonna say the cow killer sting at the end is. Should be fun.
So, you've officially won $500, but the big question is, are you gonna want to take on the $1,000 challenge?
You know, the wasp wasn't the worst thing in the world. Definitely worse than the ants, but I think for $1,000, whatever's next is worth it.
Really? For $1,000?
I'm gonna do it for $1,000.
Bro, this could be like super painful. You're just gonna do it?
I'm just gonna do it.
All right, here's the $1,000. We'll put that there.
So, I peeled off the sticky note to reveal the animal.
Oh, it's a crab.
Yeah, it's a crab.
It's kind of cute though.
Yeah.
It won't be that bad.
Oh, okay.
Now, Sai is right. Usually crab pinches are not as painful as insect stings. But the reason I'm having Sai get pinched instead of stung for this round is actually to prepare him for the $2,500 round, where he's gonna be getting stung by something that not only has a stinger, but it also has pinchers. Anyways, I opened up the box that the crab was inside of so I could show Sai what he was about to be getting pinched by in this round. And here it is, a rainbow land crab.
All right, so we got the crab out the container, as you can see, and what are you thinking of it? First impressions.
It's very colorful, and the claw on the left there is kind of big, but
Yep, crabs actually have one big claw to use for extra crushing power, so hopefully Sai gets pinched by that. But actually, something I noticed about this crab was that it was actually injured. You see, normally crabs are supposed to have 4 legs on both sides of their bodies, but this dude only has 2 legs on this side of his body. I'm not sure how he lost 2 of his legs, but because of this, I wanted to make sure I built this guy a nice little enclosure. That way he'd have a place to rest after the pinch test. But yeah, don't worry, this didn't take long because we just immediately started to spam place a bunch of rocks all along the side of the enclosure. Now, this may look kinda like trash, but I'm actually trying to recreate a rocky coastal environment that these crabs are used to in the wild.
All right, could you help me outside? Could you pour the water in?
yeah, I got you.
Let's get this crab a nice home. Oh, yeah, yep, get that water in. Yep, you're pretty good at
He's
this.
swimming forever.
After we got the water in, I started to scatter around some of these random decorations, and obviously I planted some plants in the water, cause it wouldn't be a Terra Green enclosure without some. Finally, I put some final technology in, like a filter and a water heater, so we could have this build finished. Anyways, yeah, we quickly introduced this crab into the enclosure, and it seemed like he liked it. And he immediately found some nice little places to hide at. But obviously, Sai has a $1,000 to win. Let's do this test.
All right, Sai, for $1,000, you can go ahead and take the crab out of the container and yeah, you can just get pinched. Do it however you want, just take it out.
Let's see how it goes.
All right, you're just gonna let it crawl out. Let's see this.
So yeah, immediately the crab ran straight up to Sai's finger, and it looked like he meant business. But Sai actually thought the best way to do this test would be to pick up the crab. So yeah, that's what he did.
All right, so you got a hold of it. That's a pretty smart move, but all right, his pinchers are ready.
All right, let's do it.
Go ahead.
So Sai started to put his finger up to the claw of the crab, and the crab started to give the most vicious, brutal pinch of all time, as you can see. I'm just kidding. It was barely pinching.
What are you feeling?
Not much. I mean, he's kind of just sleeping, it seems like.
Bro, what is this crab doing? You're holding him in his hand, like, and he's just grabbing
we're
on.
best friends. We're holding hands. I mean, this guy's my friend. Can I keep him?
Yeah, actually, it was kind of funny how friendly this crab was. I mean, it genuinely just looks like the crab is hugging Sai's arm here. It's actually kind of cute.
All right, Sai, would you say that was easy or hard?
I think that was the easiest thing I've ever done.
Well, I didn't tell you about the second part of the challenge where you gotta let that crab actually pinch your cheek on your face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, he really thought the crab was so weak that he was genuinely smiling and happy to do this.
It's licking me.
It's licking you.
I feel like it is. Kind of wet.
Yeah, it is a crab.
That's a fair point.
But yeah, if you couldn't already assume, the crab also didn't really do any real damage here. He just kind of gave it the slightest little pinch ever.
Well, Sai, that might have been the freest $1,000 of your entire life.
Possibly.
But remember, the only reason I wanted Sai to get pinched by a crab is to prepare him for our next animal.
All right, Sai, we're so close to the final animal sting for $10,000. But first, we still got to do the $2,500 sting, and I got the money right here. Do you want to say yes to that sting?
Based off how easy the last one was, I think we do it. It can't be that hard compared to the crab.
Oh, you want to do it? Let's peel this off.
So I took the sticky note off to reveal the next sting, a giant desert hairy scorpion.
So, Sai, you got to get stung by America's largest scorpion species.
Okay, that's probably gonna be a lot worse than the crab.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. You know what? For $2,500, I think we can tank it.
Let's do it.
But you could tell Sai was starting to get a lot more skeptical. And this time, he wanted to spend a bit of time to research online to figure out if it was actually safe to get stung by a desert hairy scorpion. Now, these guys got pretty painful venom, but of course, everything I've chosen in this video is completely safe for Sai to get stung by. It's just a bit painful, of course.
So, Sai, what do you think? Is this something you're down to get stung by after researching on Google?
Yeah, I mean, based off what Google said, seems pretty safe, but it's definitely gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna hurt, but for $2,500, I mean, what do you expect? Let's do this. Yeah, can you get your finger out? Yep, and can you get it inside?
So yeah, at first Sai wasn't really sure of how to get stung, so he kind of just started to tap the scorpion's claws and stuff to see if he could get it mad. But you see, scorpions are actually nocturnal, so I knew it was pretty unlikely that this dude was just gonna randomly sting Sai since we were recording during the day. And after like a minute or two of Sai very fearfully putting his finger around and even on the scorpion, my theory was proved right because the scorpion was actually being very chill and not even stinging him once. You see, when people like Coyote Peterson did their scorpion sting tests, they actually grabbed the stinger of the scorpion with tweezers. So I figured I should do the same thing here to ensure this test went very smoothly.
All right, Sai, 3, 2, 1. Ow. Oh, did it sting you?
Yep.
Oh, shoot. What does it feel like?
Oh, it's not that bad, but it's sharp. It's sharp.
Nah, you just got stung by a scorpion and you're saying it's not that bad.
I felt it go into my skin.
Shoot, that must have been painful.
Yep, apparently the pain immediately wasn't so bad. But he did tell me as the minutes went on, he could feel the venom sort of spreading around the area where he got stung. But even the scorpion sting is nothing compared to the final insect sting.
Sai, I have to admit, you've done a great job so far. But if you want to win the $10,000 $10 prize, I mean, you still have to take on the most painful sting. And what do you think is under that sticky note? Like, genuinely.
I have no clue. I mean, it could really be anything, but I'm hoping it's something friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, it's absolutely not something friendly.
That's a lot of money. I think I'll do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Why don't you just peel that sticky note off? For $10,000, you gotta get stung by a cow killer.
You're joking.
No.
Are you serious?
Yes, you saw the videos of Coyote Peterson getting stung by that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Sai actually wanted to rewatch that classic Coyote Peterson cow killer sting to see how bad this was actually gonna be.
Oh my gosh, that thing's huge. Oh.
Nah, that's about to happen to you, Sai. Shoot.
Oh no, it's even worse when you're watching it and you're knowing it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, Sai is gonna have a great time.
Now, Sai, we're not gonna waste any time. The cow killer's in this bag. Do you wanna take it out for me?
I'm gonna get stung though.
No, just take it out.
Okay.
So, Sai opened up the bag to reveal not actually the cow killer, but the brand new Terra Green plushies. We got this jumbo snake plushie with the channel logo all over it, and a cute little axolotl too.
And also, Sai, each plushie comes with a custom trading card. You wanna give this one an open?
Oh yes, like Pokemon when I was a kid.
Yep.
Let's see what it is.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. Yeah, it just comes with every order for free. It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
TerraGreenStore.com.
Hey, that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Anyway, so I actually wasn't lying. The cow killer is actually inside of this bag, so Sai pulled it out so we could get our first look at it.
Sai, what do you think of this thing?
It's so small for being something so painful.
Yeah, and they say this thing's sting is so strong that it's able to kill cows.
Is that real?
Well, no, these things have actually never actually harmed someone. They're just extremely painful, so there's nothing for you to worry about.
That's good then.
Yeah.
So I went and picked this thing up with some tweezers, and mine is a bit small, so it's hard to see, but if you look very closely, you can actually see the stinger here retracting in and out. Cow killers have the longest stingers in the world, so they can inject their venom super deep into the victim.
All right, Sai, we're just gonna jump straight into this. I got it here, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna put this on your arm right now.
Okay, I'm really scared. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna really hurt. All right, $10,000. That's a lot of Terra Green plushies. Oh, ow!
Oh, did it sting you?
Oh, yep, that's like deep.
Oh, it stung you.
Yup, it literally happened so fast, I didn't even realize he got stung. But based off of his reaction, he definitely did. Yeah, he was feeling it.
It burns. It feels like it's down there in the middle of my arm.
That thing just injected its stinger down deep into your arm and put that venom up in there.
Does my skin it looks red?
Yeah, that thing, it's just gonna get a big red spot there over time.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, this pain can sometimes last for up to days, but to make sure Sai didn't have to endure that, I put some of this special stuff on his arm that should help get rid of the sting as much as possible.
Sai, I have good news. You are now the proud owner of $10,000.
These are the most exotic insects in the world, and I have 7 of them that I'll be building homes for and showcasing their coolest abilities. To start off, the first insect I have is this giant Asian mantis. Despite looking absolutely majestic, this is secretly a monster that devours its prey while it's still alive. But to be able to see that, I need to recreate her natural environment in this little enclosure. So I built it up with all sorts of stuff like bark and moss, and soon enough, it was complete and ready for the mantis. Now, mantises actually have these little sharp spikes all over their legs, which allows them to grip onto very smooth surfaces like this glass. And because this mantis is so beautiful, I'm gonna name her something beautiful to match. So everyone, please say hello to Birchroot. But Birchroot wasn't the only thing alive in this enclosure, as just earlier I had put a couple crickets inside. Immediately after, Birchroot sensed them and rushed in towards the prey with killer instincts. Seconds later, the cricket was now getting crushed by Birchroot's claws and ripped apart by her alien mouth. But whilst the mantis was enjoying her meal, another cricket walked by. So she snatched that up and started to eat 2 crickets at once. Clearly, she was pretty hungry. Now, Birchroot has got to be one of the coolest insects I've ever seen. Like, seriously, she looks like King Kong right now. But there are still 6 more insane insect species I'm going to be showing off in this video, including a cow killer that is known to have one of the most painful stings in the entire world, and I'm going to be holding it. Yeah. But before getting to the cow killer, let's say hello to insect number 2, a metallic stag beetle. Now this is straight up an exotic insect. I mean, it literally looks like it's from the future. This species has some of the largest mandibles out of any beetle species. And honestly, those big sharp mandibles make me too scared to pick it up. So instead, I just picked it up with this plastic lid. For its enclosure, I'm using this 14 by 8 inch tank. And watch this, when I clap my hands in front of the terrarium, it's gonna be instantly built. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Now that's a super clean transition. As you can see, there's tons of stuff in here like bark and sphagnum moss that will be perfect for the beetle to hide under. And speaking of the beetle, I of course need to give this guy a name. And since, you know, it's the best and coolest beetle ever, I'm gonna name him Paul McCartney. Because, you know, I just feel like that name fits him pretty well. You know, he looks like a Paul. Anyways, despite Paul having these absolutely massive mandibles, he doesn't even use them to eat prey because he's a boring herbivore. So to feed him, I just got an orange and put it inside. I also put some of this beetle jelly because I think they like eating this too. But Paul is a male beetle and he looks pretty lonely if I'm being honest. So I also got this female of the same species that is honestly a lot uglier than Paul because she doesn't even have those cool mandibles, but I put her in anyways and soon she started to wander around. Eventually, she even climbed onto Paul's back while he was sleeping, which seemed to annoy him and he got up and walked away. Not a great start to these beetles' relationship, but I'm sure Paul and this new female will eventually enjoy their home together and might even have little beetle babies. And remember, later I'm gonna be picking up a cow killer wasp, which is said to have a sting strong enough to kill a literal cow. Ooh. I hope it doesn't sting me. Anyways, as you know, we still have more exotic insects to showcase. And for this next insect, let's play a little game. When I move my camera down, you have 3 seconds to find the insect in the frame. Let's go. And did you find it? Well, probably not, because this insect actually has a very special disguise. Scattered around here is a species of insect called Phyllium philippinicums, commonly known as leaf insects. Anyways, I don't have much to say about these guys. I just think it's pretty funny how over millions of years they've evolved to look like a leaf. Bruh. I mean, they could have evolved to have huge teeth and claws and stingers, but no. They evolved to look like a leaf. Now for their home, I got this glass terrarium that's a bit bigger since we have 4 of these bad boys, which will all eventually grow to be about 5 times as big, so I needed a lot of space. I wanted to make this look like a plains biome, so I got some artificial grass, and I also put a bunch of tree branches all around the tank, so the leaf insects could pretend to be leaves, just like they were born to do. Welcome to your new home, boys. I hope you like it. Or girls. I don't know if they're boys or girls. Most of the little leaves were just walking around and enjoying themselves, but a couple of the leaf insects started praising to the gods or something by raising their hands in the air and doing some sort of ritual. Anyways, these guys' diet consists mostly of themselves. And by that, I mean they eat leaves. So yeah, they're basically cannibals. But their absolute favorite food is blackberries. So of course, I put some of those around the tank. Well, this is pretty good. I think these leaves are gonna live a fantastical life in here. Moving on to the 4th insect, we got a fierce apex predator. Not only does this insect have fangs, but he also injects a potent venom into anything it bites. Everyone say hello to one of my jumping spiders. Aww. Now, yes, technically by definition, this isn't an insect, but by my definition of an insect, it is. So, don't comment about it. Now, I'm not gonna pick up this guy with my hands because they're super fast and he'd probably just jump off my hand and go hide under the couch or something, and I don't want that. So I'm just gonna speed run his new home real quick with tons of places for him to jump around, and boom. Let's get this little guy into here. These spiders are actually one of the coolest species because most of them have the ability to eat prey up to 3 times their own size. So of course I had to challenge my jumping spider by dropping in a few pretty decently sized crickets. Immediately the jumping spider hit on this piece of wood, seemingly waiting for the perfect moment to strike a cricket. But the funny thing was that he never actually did any attacking. If anything, the jumping spider was actually afraid of the crickets because every time he saw one, he got startled and slowly walked backwards. It was actually pretty funny. So to feed him, I got a couple smaller crickets and put those inside hoping he would eat those, but it kind of still seemed like he was scared of those as well. Well, I guess this guy's just not hungry right now, so in the future, if he still doesn't eat any crickets, I'll try feeding him some smaller worms and stuff. But for now, let's move on. I've been saving the best insects for last, and coming up soon, I'll be holding the cow killer wasp, which of course is the deadliest insect out of all of them. But first, for insect number 5, let's play another game. I'm gonna build this enclosure just like this, and as you can see, I built a nice little dirt enclosure with wood and moss. So now, can you guess what I'm gonna put in here based off of the enclosure? Your options are A, a shark, B, a dog, or C, an earthworm. The answer is... If you guessed shark, you were actually wrong. The actual answer is none of these. It's D, a millipede. And yeah, technically, once again, this isn't an insect, but don't worry about it. This species in specific is a pink-toed millipede, which to be honest, I don't know why it's called that because its toes are not pink. I mean, it doesn't even have toes. If anything, it should be called a orange leg millipede, but whatever. Despite it being kind of disgusting looking, I built up enough courage to pick it up onto my arm and move it into its enclosure.
Oh nah, this feels so weird crawling on me. What the heck? I swear this is actually like stinging me right now. What the heck? This feels so weird. Yeah, get off of me. Oh.
You see, millipedes have hundreds of legs, which helps them grip onto stuff and allows them to even walk upside down. Okay, maybe it's not that cool. Now, unfortunately for this video, millipedes are the most boring eaters ever, and basically just only eat decaying matter. So I'm just gonna put some blackberries in here and, yeah, call it a day. Enjoy your home, little guy. Now for insect number 6, which actually happens to be one of our most unique ones. You see, all of the other insects I've showed live on land. Well, this one actually lives under the water. These are banded diving beetles. And despite looking, kinda lame, they are actually carnivorous killers that will eat prey way bigger than themselves. For its tank, I got this 10-gallon aquarium, and basically I'm just gonna fill it up with substrate, aquatic plants, and finally some water. Now the best things about these guys is that they don't even need a water filter since they are much less affected by variability in nitrogen or phosphorus concentration because they do not breathe. So yeah, let's put them in. The little beetles were shy to come out at first, but eventually the tank was swarming with all 7 of them. The way they swim is honestly just really cool because they got these little legs and stuff that they propel themselves with, which I guess is just kind of normal and not that cool, but now I want to show you guys how these beetles eat prey. So to do that, I got some mealworms and dropped them in the water. After a few minutes, amazingly, a beetle stumbled across a worm. So he grabbed it with his legs and pulled it all the way up to the surface of the water. When he got there, he started to absolutely devour the mealworm by sucking the life out of it. A couple more of the aquatic beetles found some more mealworms, so soon enough, the entire tank was feeding on these guys. The next day, I came back to find these little lifeless mealworm exoskeletons laying around the floor. Clearly, the beetles had enjoyed their meals. Now, this is the moment we have all been waiting for, the 7th insect, a cow killer. Well, this is just a box, but inside of it, the cow killer awaits. Now, the actual name of this is a velvet ant, but the legend has it that its sting is strong enough to kill a literal cow. Hence why people call it the cow killer. And I'm about to have it crawl on my bare skin. But before that, I need to have its enclosure finished, so I have a place to, put it so it's not just stuck crawling on my arm. These guys live in the deserts and the wild, so I'm gonna quickly recreate that here by doing another super cool transition. Watch this. As I squeeze my hands in, the desert magically appears. Wow, okay.
This is the world's largest beetle, and this is my finger. And in this video, I'll be putting to the test how strong these beetles really are. And I'll also be showing you the craziest centipede species, insane alien-looking bugs, and so many other cool insects, starting with an assassin bug.
Yup, assassin bugs. And if that sounds deadly, it's because they kinda are, but they also are kinda cool. Let me show you why.
So I let these assassin bugs loose into a little enclosure I built for them, and now you can get a clear look at them. What makes these creatures so cool is if you look here, they have this super weird, sharp mouthpiece. This is called a rostrum, and using it, they can pierce into their prey, inject a special kind of digestive enzyme venom into the prey, then using the rostrum, they slurp the insides of the prey up like a smoothie. It's insane stuff. And as you can see, I have multiple of these guys because I got a special kind of species that are able to live and hunt together.
You probably see why they're called assassin bugs. bugs now. So let's feed them a cricket and document their hunting.
Now, I knew this wasn't gonna last long because assassin bugs are some of the best hunters out there. And I was right, because immediately this unlucky cricket happened to climb up the very piece of bark that all the assassin bugs were hiding under. And one of them was on the lookout and instantly spotted the cricket. Now it was time to hunt. Like real assassins who move super stealthily, assassin bugs do the same exact thing. And this guy extremely slowly inched towards his target, and as the gap slowly closed, the assassin waited for the perfect opportunity to pounce onto the cricket, who was now in the grasp of the assassin bug. Right away, you can see the rostrum pierce into the cricket, and yeah, the inside of this cricket is now being turned into a juicy smoothie for this assassin bug to slurp up. Yep. Sounds yummy.
All right, let me get this lid on. I don't want these guys biting me in my sleep or anything.
Okay, the next insect species is one I've been holding off on getting for a while, but it's a centipede.
Yep, I finally got one, even though they're all extremely venomous, but oh boy, let me show you this guy.
Yeah, I didn't get a small one either. I got one of the largest species in the United States, a giant Texas red-headed centipede. And as you can tell, these guys are pretty evil, because right away he started to try and climb the sides of the container to escape, which I definitely wouldn't want, because, well, we all know the infamous Coyote Peterson who gets stung and bit by everything. Well, he got bit by a very similar centipede to this, and yeah, based off his reaction, you could probably tell it's something I want to try and avoid, probably.
Just cut the cameras. But it's definitely worth the risk, because I get to show you guys how insane of a pet they are. Let me get them in this enclosure.
Now, these guys usually live in desert environments, so we're gonna use a bit of sand for this enclosure, but also a solid mix of dirt and other natural stuff, because it's actually what gives them the best conditions in their enclosure. Then we want to give this guy some nice natural stuff to hide under, and finally a couple skulls in here to signify how deadly these guys are to other insects.
All right, let's get this centipede in the enclosure. And please don't bite me too. That would be much appreciated. But, oh, he's just gonna go crawl out. Oh, it's actually pretty gentle. Go on. Yep, go crawl out. Go on. Yep, just like that. Oh, yeah.
Anyways, this dude immediately got to walking around his enclosure, and what makes these guys so cool is obviously how many legs they have. They're called centipedes because centa means 100, and they basically got like 100 legs. But not exactly 100, because I actually did count how many legs this guy had, and it was only 40. So yeah, their name is a lie, it's not 100, but I mean, it's still a lot.
It's so cool to watch these guys walk around, but it's even cooler to watch them eat. So you already know, I got a cricket. And let's not waste any time. Let's drop this thing in here.
And oh, things immediately were interesting, because I dropped the cricket directly next to the centipede's face. But thankfully for the cricket, the centipede was distracted, and so the cricket walked straight past his face and kind of just walked onto his body. And then he kind of just started to ride it like a train. Dang, bro, you gotta be careful, because this train is, well, it's definitely about to eat you, bro. I'm just gonna be honest. And I was correct, because only 30 seconds later, the centipede once again came across the cricket, and this time, the centipede definitely saw him. And so the centipede started to follow in the direction the cricket ran. And so I also followed the centipede with my camera, and that's when I saw the two met again. And this time the centipede made his attack. The cricket tried to escape through the logs, but as I looked around the corner, it's pretty clear the cricket wasn't able to escape, because he was now in the grasp of this insane apex predator of the desert and was getting munched up. Good job, centipede. Even though you are a little bit creepy, it's actually super cool to watch you hunt. Okay, we're coming up on the world's largest beetle and testing how strong they are. However, I still gotta show you the next crazy insect pet on the list, which is a giant millipede.
Now, the reason I'm showing a millipede right after showing the centipede is because they're very similar in a lot of ways, but they're also very different in a lot of ways.
Now, the first way they're different is, well, you know how centipedes have that absolutely bonkers bite like I was talking about that's just extremely painful? Well, millipedes are basically the exact opposite, and they're some of the most friendliest creatures of all time.
And to demonstrate that, I'm gonna let this thing crawl on me. And oh my gosh, the sensation of like these 300 tiny little legs crawling on my hand is just so weird. I don't even know how to describe it.
But if I had to, I would just say it's a very tickly, because as you can see, each one of the legs on the millipede is almost kind of sharp, which lets it get a really good grip with what it's standing on. But yeah, it's just such a weird feeling. I even let this guy crawl on this cool snake plushie I had sitting around. And wait a second, this isn't any ordinary snake plushie. This is the brand new Terror Green snake plushie that just released today. This new Terra Green snake plushie is a massive 36 inches long, and it's awesome because it has the channel logo engraved all over it, and it's very derpy looking. And since you guys have been asking for plushies for a long time, I'm not only dropping this snake, I'm also releasing this super duper cute axolotl plushie with it. And of course, we got the logo engraved on this guy too, as the blush on the cheeks. It's so cool.
And since the snake is so long, it's kind of fun to play around with. I just swing it around my dog and wrap it around him and stuff. So I'll remind you guys again at the end of the video, but they just dropped today. So yeah, I don't know when they're going to sell out. We only made a limited amount. So seriously guys, thank you for supporting the merch. It means so much. But seriously, let's actually get back to the bugs. I got some insane insects still planned for this video. Check them out on the store though. Yeah, let's go though.
But you see, I didn't just get some lame millipede for this video. I balled out and got the most massivest millipede of all time, called a giant African millipede, which yeah, isn't really a very creative name. They just kind of said it's giant, where it's from, and that it's a millipede. But yeah, I'm not gonna complain. I guess it's easy to remember.
Now, there's just one problem because the place I bought this from specifically said in the description, do not use cocoa fiber. Now, if you didn't know, cocoa fiber is basically like the holy grail of dirt for terrarium builders. It's just like a special kind of dirt that holds humidity very well, I guess. But yeah, it's like unheard of to not use this in a build. Like I've literally never made a build without this. Like what the heck, bro?
So since cocoa fiber was all I had, I drove to the greatest store of all time behind Walmart, Petco, of course. And there I got the special kind of dirt that is not cocoa fiber, but I also got some of this mulch stuff, which is like wood chips, and a bit of moss. But for the secret ingredient for the millipede tank, it's this thing, which I'll show you very soon. So when I got back home, I started mixing together all my new dirt materials. All these materials I chose are specifically designed to hold just as much moisture as the cocoa fiber, if not more, which as you can see, makes this super duper moisty.
All right, it's perfect that it's now super wet because if it was too dry, the millipede would not survive very long. They dry out super easily. So yeah, I'll have to spray this thing a lot to make sure it's always nice and moist.
But since we have to keep this so wet, mold might actually grow on the sides of the enclosure. That's where my secret ingredient comes in.
I got springtails. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you probably don't think it's that cool, but bruh, I mean, I still think they're cool, okay? Be free, boys.
Yeah, springtails are just these super tiny white bugs that will go around and clean up mold if it grows. So yeah, they're perfect. Finally, I just put in some tiny bits of cork bark around to decorate the place and add some cover.
There we go. This is a fantastical millipede enclosure. Let's go ahead and get this guy inside. Be free, boy. I hope you like your new home. Spent a long time on it. Well, I only spent like 10 minutes on it, but yeah, I hope you like it.
Anyways, after he felt comfortable enough, he uncurled up from his ball and got to exploring around his enclosure. Now, there's not really much to talk about with these guys, unfortunately, because they kind of just walk around and don't do much else. The main thing that makes them cool and also similar to centipedes is the crazy amount of legs they have. And the average millipede has a way more legs than a centipede, as you can see. Very nice. Yeah, my guy just wandered around the enclosure for like 30 minutes, but eventually, once he feels comfortable enough, he'll start to burrow under the floor like you could see in this footage. And he'll basically just chill there for like 90% of his life, just eating the dead organic matter or something. I don't really know, but yeah, they're pretty cool. Anyways, next up on the list, I actually got something very interesting I've never showed on the channel before. A vinegaroon.
This is the closest thing to a mutant creature on Earth I think there is. And it's extremely cool. I'll show you why.
Yeah, you heard that right. A mutant creature. And the reason I say that is because look at this thing. It straight up has the body and claws of a scorpion, a tail that looks like a rat tail, and these weird antenna things that lobsters have. Yeah, this thing is weird.
But probably the weirdest thing about this creature is in its name, because it's called a vinegaroon, and if you separate the words in there, there's vinegar and oon.
Now, I don't know what the oon part of its name means, to be honest, but the reason it has a vinegar in its name is because this creature has the ability, when threatened, to arch its back up and shoot a special acid type of vinegar out of it to spray all over the threat, potentially blinding them so the vinegaroon can get away. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And I'll be showing you guys exactly what that looks like. Let's get him in his enclosure so we can show it off. This one should work pretty well.
Now, the build is pretty simple for these guys, and thankfully I can use cocoa fiber again. Phew. But yeah, I filled about 1/3 of the way up with dirt, and then I scattered some pieces of wood and bark around. This time I wanted to add some greenery, so I tore up bits of this moss and spread that around. I love this stuff because while it might look pretty dry right now, all it needs is a nice little spray to come back to life. And yeah, this stuff will just grow super fast over time as long as I keep this enclosure nice and moist.
Anyways, Mr. Vinegaroon, this is your new home. Hopefully you like it. Let me just gently release you. Go on, can you walk out? Oh, sorry. Oh, Sorry.
And yeah, immediately after putting this dude inside, he ran straight up to the glass to get a nice little drink of water off the droplets sitting there. It was pretty cool to see him using his claws to shovel the drops of water into his mouth. So yeah, dang, I guess he was pretty thirsty.
Oh yeah, bro, I almost forgot. Let me get a water dish in there. Dude, that guy was thirsty. He instantly went and tried to get some water, so I'm just gonna go put that one nice in the corner.
So yeah, I filled that up with a bit of water. With creatures like vinegaroons, you want to make sure their water dishes are very shallow, cause they're not super smart. If their water dish was too deep, they might fall in and drown. So yeah. But anyways, my guy was having a lot of fun exploring around his new enclosure.
All right, now I want to check out if this guy's gonna try and eat. Maybe he'll even shoot his acid, I don't know, but they are nocturnal, so yeah, I mean, he might not even eat at all. But you already know, I got a little cricket. Crickets love me, obviously. Let's drop this guy in. Bye-bye.
I dropped a cricket directly next to the vinegaroon, so some action could theoretically happen right away. But if you've seen my other videos with nocturnal animals like scorpions, you'd probably know that they straight up just like to not eat during the day. Yeah, they'd rather let insects crawl right next to their mouth instead of eating them, apparently. But with this vinegaroon, it was a different story, because right after a minute of the cricket standing next to him, I noticed he actually started to strike towards the cricket to actually try and eat it. That means this vinegaroon was in hunting mode. And the next time the cricket came by, I noticed the vinegaroon use his little antenna to locate the location of the cricket, and then he walked over to strike it again. But unfortunately, he also missed once again. However, a bit later, I noticed that the vinegaroon had found the little water dish I put in there for him. He then proceeded to walk into the water to take a little bath, and I guess he was getting a bit more of a drink too, but the cricket was directly next to him still. And when the two creatures got a little bit closer, the vinegaroon once again struck and missed, but this time he was not going to give up and chased the cricket down to finally get a hold of it, all while splashing around in the water. But dang, bro now had an absolutely delicious, juicy cricket in his grasp, and yeah, he just started devouring it. Good catch, bro. I was not expecting that during the day.
Now, unfortunately, he didn't use his acid vinegar spray thing, and that's because I think they only use that for defense, and obviously I don't want to stress this guy out, so I'm not going to force him to do it, but I will show you guys this very cool footage of them doing it. Watch this.
So basically, like I was saying earlier, they arch their abdomen up, aim their tail up too, and boom, the vinegar sprays out right there. It's pretty cool to see it spray out, and it also has absolutely insane aim. Like here, the vinegaroon was able to spot on, hit the tweezers that was holding it, so basically any sort of predator in the wild will know not to mess with this thing if it gets sprayed. It's a genius ability from the vinegaroon. But yeah, I put a lid on this enclosure, and boom, this is a pet vinegaroon. Now it's time for the real reason we're here, to test how strong beetles really are. And of course, I have the largest beetle species in the world, but I also have this one with insanely sharp mandibles, and this one that's pretty tiny, but it also has mandibles as well.
Now, I'll be starting with the smallest beetle and testing the weakest objects in this guy's mouth. As the beetles get bigger, the objects will get bigger too. Until at the end, I'm gonna be putting my finger in this guy's mouth. Thankfully though, I get to start with this little guy. It's a lot nicer.
This is called a rainbow stag beetle. And while it's the smallest beetle I have, it's still pretty insane looking, because if you look very closely, it actually is a shiny purple color. There's not that many animals that have a purple color like this, so yeah, it's pretty cool. And I already built this guy a little enclosure, so I put him inside. Even though this place is pretty small, that's exactly how they like it, because they kind of just chill around all day and don't really move much.
Now, the first object I'm gonna test with this guy is a little pack of jelly. Technically, this won't test their strength, but I just want to show you how they eat, because it's actually pretty interesting.
Now, beetles like this are cool, because while they got their mandibles here, this is actually not their mouth. Their mouth is actually under the mandibles right here. So yeah, that's where they eat. The reason they have mandibles is so in the wild, the males can fight each other, and whoever wins the fight gets to go home with the female beetle. It's pretty interesting. But anyways, I went and put the jelly right in front of this guy. And these guys love sweet stuff like jelly or fruit. And in fact, I think this jelly is banana flavored, which is one of the beetle's favorite foods. So I thought this dude was just gonna start devouring it up right away. But in fact, he seemed kind of defensive and actually started attacking it with his mandibles. But after I really kind of started to shove it in his face, I think he got a little taste of it, and then he seemed very happy because he actually started to then eat it, and it's actually very cool to see how their mouth works. Yeah, he really just sucked all the juiciness out of this thing.
So let's close this for now, and let's actually go and get out our second beetle, which is this guy. And he has way bigger mandibles.
mandibles. This is called a giraffe stag beetle. So yeah, this is also a stag beetle like the one before, but a slightly different version with these way larger mandibles that, if you actually look at them, are also way sharper. And yeah, they should be able to easily crush stuff way stronger than the previous beetle. And of course, I already got this dude's enclosure built, so I put him in as well.
All right, now for the object for this guy to crush, I've got a little piece of cardboard. Oh, also, I'm gonna take the beetle out of the enclosure for this experiment. Let's go.
So I didn't waste any time, and I just went and put this piece of cardboard in this dude's mandibles. And he sort of started to close his mandibles on it, but I'm not gonna lie, it was a kind of lackluster effort. I even tried putting it in at different angles to see if he could actually crush it, but yeah, he wasn't really doing a good job. So I decided to give him an easier object to crush, a paper towel. Surely he could at least make a hole through this with his insanely sharp mandibles. But yet again, even after putting it right at the super sharp part, yeah, it didn't really make much of an impact, to be honest.
Bruh, nah, these beetles got the most intimidating mandibles. Oh, he just almost bit me. But bruh, you can't even bite through cardboard or even a paper towel, bro. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. What are these mandibles for? You can't even bite through this stuff? No, I'm just kidding. No, these are actually insane creatures. They're super cool. Let me get this guy back in his enclosure. Anyways, what I'm really excited about is testing this bad boy's bite. Well, I mean, I'm not actually that excited. I do gotta put my finger in here, but let's just do this.
Yep, it's finally time for the craziest and also largest beetle in the world. A Hercules beetle.
You guys have no idea how hard it was for me to get my hands on one of these. They were out of stock everywhere, and I had to message so many people, but I finally did. It was super expensive, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, these guys live in the South American rainforests, and unlike other beetles in this video, they literally have fur on them. Yeah, that's how you know they're exotic. So that's not even mentioning they have these absolutely bonkers mandibles. Cause of what? The mandibles are basically like double the size of the body.
And I got a pretty solid sized enclosure for this guy, but I'll once again be doing this test outside the tank since they're so massive.
Now, before I put my finger in the mandibles, I first got something very close to a finger to find out the real damage I was about to face.
Yeah, I got a carrot, because you know, whenever I see videos of people like testing their fingers and stuff like car door windows or something, they always use a carrot first as like a good representation of what it's like before a finger. Bro, imagine he just chops clean through this carrot, and then I'm gonna have to put my finger in right after that. Jeez.
Anyways, I went and put the carrot in the mandibles without wasting any time. And guys, to be honest, I was kind of expecting this to rip through the carrot because they just look vicious. But after moving the carrot over tons of different parts of the mandibles, the most the beetle did was give a very light pinch to the carrot. And yeah, all it took was a bit of wiggling to get the carrot out.
Bruh, wait a second. I'm not even scared to do this anymore. Yo, that thing barely affected this carrot. I'm just gonna put my finger in right now. Hercules beetle, you don't even scare me. Let's do this.
So without wasting time, I just put my finger in. Found the perfect position to get pinched in the best way, and then the beetle started to close his horn mandible. I've gathered the craziest animal videos on the internet. Here they are. For our first crazy video, these guys were exploring a beach cave when this happened. Yeah, they got absolutely pummeled by a bajillion flies. Like, bro, what do you even do in that situation? You probably accidentally breathe in so many of those flies. Hey, I guess it's a little bit of extra protein. Okay, I feel like something could go terribly wrong in this video, because if you can't already tell, this is a real bear just sitting casually on a motorcycle with some humans. Yeah, but the craziest thing is, this bear starts to blow a horn. Nah, they trained this bear to be the car horn. Yeah, but I'm not sure why everyone here is just acting so casually. I mean, I guess this is Russia. I don't know if this is just a normal everyday thing there, but yeah, pretty crazy. Okay, I'll just let this guy explain this next clip.
Hey, y'all want to see the coolest bottle opener in the world?
Yeah, so basically this dude is holding a mouse in one hand and a glass bottle in the other. He then goes and puts the mouse on top of the bottle, holds the bottle up, and nature does its thing.
Break time!
Now, I found some pretty cool videos of shark cage encounters like this one, where the shark very angrily slams into the cage with its mouth open. To be honest, I don't know why people willingly go inside these cages. It looks pretty scary. But if you didn't know, the clips just get crazier and crazier as the video goes on. So obviously in this next clip, the shark that attacked the cage was even more aggressive. The shark grabbed onto the cage sideways and literally would not let go. Everyone was screaming inside, but don't worry, I think they're all safe because they were also laughing. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I would go inside of one of these cages willingly. Okay, someone has to explain this video in the comments to me because it makes no sense. Obviously, you can see a bird in front of an iPad, but then this bird starts to use the iPad like a human can. And it starts swiping through the pictures, not randomly or anything. Like, actually, this bird knows what it's doing on the iPad. And eventually, he gets to a picture of a sandwich and literally zooms in on it. And he starts doing a happy dance because apparently he loves sandwiches. What? I genuinely think this bird might be smarter than me. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, you are about to see a bear go above and beyond for a meal because apparently there's a little worm bug thing in the soil under this tree. And when the bear saw it, he walked up to the tree and he did this. Yeah, bro literally started to knock down the tree until he literally did knock down the tree. And then he proceeded to dig through the rubble for this meal. Good job, bro. Hopefully that was worth the effort for the worm. Nice. Okay, remember that bug swarm clip from earlier? Well, I think I found one that's even funnier. Like, what the heck is going on? This is genuinely pure chaos. Whistles, screaming, car horns, and a billion bugs. Nah, bro, never put me in this situation. Okay, now you might be wondering why on earth is a snake slithering on a power line? Well, apparently this snake saw some birds up on this power line, so somehow he got up onto here and is now absolutely risking his life to get a meal. I mean, I know some snakes are good climbers, but this has got to be extra risky considering there's no extra tree branches for him to grab onto if he falls. And yeah, I'm not sure what the snake was expecting because birds do actually have wings. Every time the snake got close, the birds kind of just flew away. Yeah, well, good luck getting down, bro, because I have no clue how you even got up here. Okay, this might be the most evil pet owner ever because look at this.
Rocks, paper,
He taught his bird to say rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and then he put him in front of a mirror to infinitely play rock, paper, scissors with himself. So yeah, this bird is in a never-ending game of rock, paper, scissors. Is anyone gonna tell him he's playing against himself? Anybody? Oh, now this one's actually pretty crazy. You see, this dude is an ultra hummingbird enthusiast, but usually hummingbirds are impossible to get close to. So he built this super cool contraption which he fills with nectar, straps to his head, and then the birds will fly extremely close to his face to drink it. And as long as he doesn't move at all, this just lets him watch and study his favorite birds for hours. Now, this is actually pretty wholesome. Everyone drop W's in the comments for the red hat hummingbird guy. Okay, this will probably be the most monkeys you ever see in one video. I'm not sure where this was recorded or why there's so many monkeys just running in the street, but yeah, there is. So the crazy part of this video is when fireworks randomly went off and of course spooked all the monkeys, causing them to go bananas. Yeah, there is a genuine stampede of monkeys. Are these guys just gonna live in the city now or what? I don't really know. Okay, if I was this diver, I would be so mad because you can see he puts his GoPro camera up to this octopus to try and get some cool footage. But if we switch to the GoPro's view, we can see things quickly started to go wrong because the octopus started to climb out of its hole and actually put one of his tentacles onto the camera. But he didn't stop there because he then completely climbed onto the GoPro so the diver couldn't record anything anymore. Dang, I guess this octopus was camera shy. But thankfully the diver had a backup camera so we could see the struggle he went through to get this octopus off. Yeah, it took about like 2 minutes, but eventually he was successful and the octopus swam back off to the sea floor. And it's cool because you can see the octopus change its color as it swam away to camouflage. Okay, so we all know the story of the tortoise versus the hare. Well, some people actually recreated that in real life. Yeah, might sound stupid because you would just expect the hare to obviously win, but similar to the actual story, halfway through the hare stopped to take a break because he was so far in the lead, but the tortoise was still going with all of his might and overtook the hare and eventually made it to the finish line to win the race. Dang, who knew slow and steady actually really does win the race? Okay, I'm not sure what's up with bears acting like humans in this video because this security camera caught a bear that walked up to this family's car and for some reason it got up on its hind legs like a human and using its arms it just opened the car door casually and started rummaging through the car. I have no clue how it just knew to open the door like that, but yeah, apparently it just ate all the food inside and then just walked away. Animals are getting too smart, I swear. This next clip documents something not many people have successfully been been able to record. But basically, it shows a caterpillar being born. Oh, but not only that, because it also shows that same caterpillar when it went into its chrysalis stage. And yeah, I just think it's insanely crazy to see the caterpillar crawl out of its old skin and eventually turn from this green shell into a fully grown butterfly, which then eventually is able to crawl out from the chrysalis and is able to restart the life cycle itself. Okay, this bird is about to sing a song, and I want you guys to guess what song he's singing. Yeah, he's singing the If You're Happy and You Know It song. And the craziest part is when he taps the beak on the table at the part where you're supposed to clap your hands. Like, how do you even teach your bird to do that? I'm in awe with how smart some of these birds are. Okay, this video basically shows an orangutan from a zoo interacting with a dog. And you won't believe how locked in this dog gets at the orangutan. Because for some reason, the orangutan starts to try and annoy the dog by banging on the glass, which gets the dog so mad. Yeah, this dude looks like he wants blood. And the best part is when the orangutan starts to put a stick through the hole in the glass to tease the dog, but the dog doesn't even budge at this point because he's had enough of this monkey's rage bait. What an interesting interaction. Okay, take a listen to what this guy has to say real quick.
We've got our friendly neighborhood spider who's chilling over here. And the cockroach.
Yeah, I thought this video was so crazy because it shows why Australians actually love keeping these giant spiders in their house. Because in it, he catches a cockroach from the shower to demonstrate how good these spiders are at hunting. Yep, within like half a second, the spider pounced onto the cockroach and started to devour it. So basically, having these things in your house is like a built-in pest control. As long as you're fine with seeing giant spiders every now and then, which I definitely would not be okay with. Now, this video shows the most insane alien-looking creature on Earth. Yeah, this isn't fake. It's actually a super rare type of moth. But what makes this video even more crazy is usually these moths look like this, without those black hairy things coming out the back. But on special occasions, the males will inflate those things coming out of their body to look like this insane Goliath alien-looking creature. So yeah, this is super rare, and I hope I never see this. Okay, so this may just look like a fun home video of people who found a dancing bug.
I think we should get music to go to a
But oh, this is not a friendly bug. It's a toe biter, and trust me, I've made a video on getting these guys as a pet, and I know they are not friendly. So that's why I wasn't surprised when this happened. Okay, bro, I just thought that scream was too funny to not show. Let's see that one more time. Okay, I know the quality on this video is so trash, but it's literally because it's just so insane. Because if you look closely, this is a bee and this is a nail. And this bee is pulling the nail out of the wall. Yeah, and that's like the whole video. Like, is that not insane how a bee is pulling a nail out of the wall? This is either the strongest bee ever, or this is the weakest nail ever. Anyways, yeah, he pulled it out so you could go inside the hole. It's actually very smart. Okay, this video just shows another casual day in Australia.
So the owners had come in to have their morning shower and found the snake curled up.
So yeah, I guess living in Australia means you're okay sharing your house with insane animals like massive snakes. But I kind of feel like this snake was just trying to get clean and take a shower. Like, bro, why are you removing him from the shower? And then even worse, they kidnapped him into this big dark bag. Wow. That is just, that's evil. And earlier, I showed shark encounters from inside cages, but now we got shark encounters outside a cage. And this is where things could go seriously wrong. But thankfully, these were trained professionals under the water, so when the sharks started to show signs of aggression, they knew exactly what to do. You see, the sharks kept advancing towards the divers, and they had to actually keep pushing them away with their hands. And eventually, this shark went up to this diver and actually started to take bites at him. The diver quickly tried to use all of his strength to push back the shark, and thankfully after a bit the shark actually did back off. Dang, that was a close call, but thankfully the diver stayed calm and did everything right. There it is. Bed bugs are tiny parasites that hide in your bed and suck your blood while you sleep. Bed bugs. Now, I don't think these are meant to be kept as pets, but hey, $20, what could go wrong? Let's just buy these. So in this video, I'm gonna build a home for them, document exactly what it's like to have bed bugs as pets, and literally feed them my own blood at the end of the video. Yes, I'm not kidding. I don't know why I'm gonna do this to myself. Anyways, until the bed bugs got delivered, I got out an enclosure to build their home. Now, I'm pretty sure there's no documented case of anyone keeping bed bugs as a pet, so I figured out what they need myself.
Yeah, all these supplies are for the bed bugs.
Anyways, first up, I started to pour some coconut fiber dirt into the enclosure for step number 1, the floor. You see, for most of the floor, we want to use this dirt material, but that's not it. We actually want to pour a layer of sand on top of it, just like this. You see, I'm doing this because bed bugs would be almost impossible to spot if they were just on dirt, but on the sand, I should be able to see them perfectly.
And I really got to make sure I keep track of every bed bug, because if they escape, let's just say I'm not going to be sleeping too well. Why am I doing this?
Anyways, I finished off the floor by creating some little sand mounds in the back that I would soon be able to cover in decorations. And speaking of decorations, for step number 2, we're gonna put in the natural decorations. For those, I got out some simple stuff like cork bark, spider wood, and some gray stones, and strategically placed them around in the sand. I even stacked a few pieces of wood in this corner and covered the top in some moss to make it look like a tree. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm an expert designer, as you could tell.
And all this stuff is gonna be perfect because bed bugs like to hide under tight little spaces just like these,
which is also why they like to hide under mattresses. Yeah, it's pretty cozy under there. To finish off the natural decorations, I planted a bit more moss around just to add some more color and bring the whole thing to life. All right, now for the next step, it's time for the artificial decorations.
And basically what that means is I literally want to build a mini bed from scratch to put in the middle of this enclosure to see if the bed bugs will prefer to hide under natural decorations or if they really just love beds. Now, of course, I'm going to put this in the middle of the enclosure, but that's not all I'm going to do. You see, the reason bed bugs love mattresses so much is because they smell like humans. So basically what I need to do is make this mini mattress smell like me. And I have the perfect idea for how to do that.
So I got out my bike helmet, lined a little towel rag along the front of it, put it on, and started to go for a bike ride.
So basically I'm just gonna ride around for like 20 or 30 minutes, and that towel I put in my helmet should absorb all the sweat, and then I can just basically squeeze it on that little mini mattress. Yeah, I'm a genius, I know.
So I went on my little ride up and down some hills, you know, and when I got home, I took the rag off my helmet to see if it would work.
Okay, I think there's like a solid amount of sweat on this, so I guess let me just go and try and squeeze it on top of this. Come on, just get a little bit of sweat out. Oh, shoot. Okay, wait, that's actually a pretty good amount of sweat. Dang, wait. Okay, this is kind of nasty, I'm not gonna lie. And there we go, it just kind of looks like someone peed in the bed now, but hey, this should smell like me now.
Well, now that the mattress is done, it's time to move on to the final step, which is a DIY technology. Now you see, bed bugs are attracted to an air molecule called CO2 because it's the same molecule that humans breathe out.
And since bed bugs love that smell so much, I'm gonna build my own custom CO2 emitter right there, and then I'll test to see if the bed bugs like go flock towards the smell. I don't know, it'll be cool though.
Now to make a CO2 emitter, you first gotta get out a nice large soda bottle and pour all the soda out. Well, technically you don't have to pour it out, it's just not healthy to drink that much soda, so yeah, that's why I'm pouring it out. Anyways, then you get the empty soda bottle and fill it up with some special ingredients. First, we fill it up almost entirely with water and then add like 2 cups of sugar. And then the final step is to add some yeast in here, which is the same thing you use to bake bread.
Basically, all those ingredients I just added are gonna react and do some science, and basically, out the end of this tube that I attached, a bunch of CO2 is just gonna come out, and yeah, I'm just gonna see if the bed bugs go and smell it or something. I don't know.
Well, the bed bug enclosure is now finished, and that means it's time to add those nasty creatures inside and be the first person to have pet bed bugs.
All right, well, here they are, the bed bugs. They literally just got delivered, so thankfully they weren't sitting in the snow too long. But as you guys know, I'm not exactly too thrilled to be keeping these as a pet because, like I said, I'm literally going to let them be sucking the blood out of my arm. I don't know why I do this, man. Let me just get them in the enclosure I built for them.
So I brought them to my table, cut the tape, and lifted the flaps.
Oh my gosh. I think they're inside of this thing in here. Okay, I guess let me just get this out. And bro, genuinely, if these things escape, my mom is going to be so mad.
And speaking of escape, you might be wondering, how will I prevent them from escaping, considering the enclosure I made literally doesn't have a roof? Well, I forgot one important step, escape-proofing the enclosure.
But don't worry, because I've kept ants before, and I actually got this special serum for the ants that prevents them from escaping, and I'm just hoping that it'll do the same for the bed bugs.
Basically, you just get out a little cotton ball, put some of the special serum on the end, and rub it in along the top edges of the enclosure.
Alright, now even if the bed bugs are able to climb the glass, they're gonna climb up, and then they're gonna get to this stuff, and basically it's just super slippery, so they're just gonna slide right off. And then finally, I'm just gonna put this top on it just like that. That won't actually do anything because these holes are pretty sure too big. Yeah, the bugs could probably just fit through it, but whatever.
Anyways, I got out the jar of bed bugs, opened the top of it, and dumped about half of the 10 inside of the enclosure. Immediately immediately one of the bed bugs started to scurry around his new home looking for cover and went straight into a dark spot under the nearest rock. But a few seconds later, I saw this bed bug and he actually ran straight over to the little bed mattress I had made. And after crawling on it for a minute, he set up camp in a little piece of cork bark right next to it. I guess the fact that I had made the mattress smell just like me was working really well, because over the next minute, I saw 2 more of the bed bugs just chilling on the mattress too.
Dang, that's actually cool how they all just went onto this little mini mattress I made instead of all the other decorations. But to be honest, I've kind of already lost track of every single one I put in. Yeah, they're just so small.
But the reason bed bugs are so small is so they can go undetected while hiding in people's beds. And when they find a victim to suck the blood of, they can literally get more than double in size with how much they suck.
Anyways, bed bugs are nocturnal because obviously they feed on people at night. So in order to get them to suck my arm, I'm gonna bring my mom in here at night, show my new pet to her, and then get her to film me getting bit. This is not gonna be fun, but let's just go cut to then. Okay, Mom, you can come in.
Hey, bud.
Hi. Oh, that's a cool hoodie and hat you got on. Where'd you get that?
TerrorGreenStore.com.
Oh, that's cool. All right, well, come in anyways. The reason I brought you here, you haven't seen my new pet, but basically, I have another new pet to show you. Yeah, so basically, just a channel tradition, you have to guess what pet is in there based on the stuff.
I'm gonna guess. I'm thinking a spider.
A spider?
A spider.
Well, it's a bug, and I'm just gonna tell you what it is. It's, well, don't get mad at me, seriously. It's bed bugs.
No, it's not, dude.
Yes, it's actually, it's pet bed bugs. That's funny.
That's not cool.
It's pretty funny. Okay.
No, dude.
Okay, so to attract the bed bugs, I built this little contraption. Basically, I just take that off, and I'm just gonna pour some of this stuff. It's yeast. But basically, this is gonna have a chemical reaction in this bottle, and after I shake it up, it's basically gonna produce carbon dioxide, which is CO2. I'm just gonna leave this tube here, and we'll just see if any bed bugs come out, so you can see them. Wait. Do you see that?
Oh my god.
Wait. Right, no, there actually is one right there. Do you see that? It's like a little tiny orange thing.
Yes.
Oh, that's a bed bug.
Oh my god, you're so crazy.
But the good thing is you're not gonna have to deal with them because, well, I have to tell you something. You remember the other day I got a leech and I let it suck on my arm?
Yes.
I have to do that with the bed bugs.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay,
They
well,
don't feed off of your arm.
yeah, they suck your blood.
Oh my god, they do not.
So basically I've collected about, I think, 4 of the bed bugs in this jar. Well, I just gotta roll up my sleeve, I guess, and we're gonna feed them.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so, well, I guess let me just start. We're just gonna tip the jar like that and slowly let them crawl out. Okay, there's one on my arm right there.
Oh
Let's
my
just
god,
test it
dude.
with one.
Yeah, we're just doing one.
Just
No,
two.
just do 2. Don't do any more than that.
That's okay. We need to get all 4
No,
of
we
them.
do not. No. Okay, put them back. That's it.
Why?
Because they're crawling and I'm not getting them anywhere else in this house.
It's okay, they'll bite me. So basically they can pick up the scent immediately of what my arm is like, and I'm pretty sure these 3 are already all biting me. This one's just the one that hasn't bit yet.
Soon enough, all 4 were biting, and basically all I felt was a little bit of a prick. The pain wasn't anything crazy though. But over the next 10 minutes, my mom and I would watch them fill up with my blood.
All right, so I just took the camera from you, and as you can see, I think they're starting to fill up. Is this weird?
Yeah, it's super weird. Oh, you can see them fill up with blood?
Yeah, if you look closely at their bodies, like you remember how they were super thin, now they're kind of getting a little thicker, and it should start to turn red soon. Oh, they already are actually.
Disgusting.
Oh, do you see that one?
Ew.
It's starting to
No.
move. That means it's done.
Oh my god,
So
good.
basically what you do when it's done,
All of them in the jar.
it's okay, we'll get it, don't worry.
You see, basically when they start moving, that's when they're done feeding. So I put 2 of them back in the jar since they were done. Then a couple minutes later, another one finished, and then the final one a few minutes after that.
All right, and then the last one is in its jar. We're done. That's how you feed your pet bed bugs.
Oh, right. Don't ever do this to anyone.
All right, well, I just let bed bugs suck my blood for like 10 minutes, so please just subscribe. That's all I'm asking.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to watch another video, click the video on the screen. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
I'm gonna buy that tank, completely revamp it into the best fish tank ever, and save the fish and frogs that are somehow still alive inside of it. So first, I had to, of course, drive out to the cellar and fork up the $20 needed to buy it.
You see, normally a fish tank for $20 would be a good deal, but this thing has a whole list of problems. But anyways, it's mine now, so we're just gonna go take it home and, run some diagnostics. That we're just gonna see if these fish are gonna be able to survive. Let's go.
As soon as I got home, I got out some water testing strips. And after swishing them around, I figured out that there was a bunch of problems with the current water. I needed to get the fish and frogs out of there as soon as possible. So I quickly got a temporary tank, built it up, and added some healthy quick start bacteria to make it safe for the fish. And of course, I can't scoop the fish out of this straight up sewage water. Yeah, I can't even see through it. So I quickly set up a filter, and after a few hours, I was able to see through the water.
All right, it's 100% clear now, and if there's fish in here, I'm gonna scoop it out with this net. Oh, did you just see that right there? It's a good thing these are still alive. Let me get you out.
Thankfully, the frogs were still okay, so I scooped them out. And eventually, I even found the fish, all still in good health. I identified the frog species as African dwarf frogs, which are able to survive fully underwater. And the fish was the species of black coolie loach, which is this weird snake-looking thing. But of course now, it's time to focus on transforming this. I honestly can't get over how bad this is, like genuinely, who built this? And to start the process, this thing needed to be cleaned. So I drained out the sewage water and got rid of it. And of course, I took everything else out because, yeah, we don't really want any of this nasty stuff. If I'm being honest, this is already 100 times better than that garbage we started with. But we're about to make this 1,000 times better. So let's give those creatures a new home. Anyway, step one was to buy a lot of money's worth of new supplies.
Oh my god, $400. This is gonna be an insane build.
And get them delivered to my house. But for step two, we gotta actually get to building, and there we go. And to start the build, I'm gonna recreate that plastic arch thing that was originally in the tank, and I'm gonna base the entire theme of the new tank around that. Just obviously, I'm gonna be using real rocks, not plastic trash pet store rocks that are dirty. Yeah, this is so bad. Get this out of here. Anyways, the build was pretty simple. You just place rocks in and then glue them together, and then repeat that like a billion times. And after literally 4 hours, the cave arch structure was done. And I know, it might look like trash right now with all that exposed foam and stuff, but trust me, it's gonna look good soon. And speaking of looking good, let's get to the next part where we add in the floor and decorations. First, I'll do the floor, which I'm mostly gonna be making out of this aqua soil stuff. But I also kept some of the original soil from the trash tank because while it was dirty, it was actually some pretty good soil. But of course, it needed to be cleaned so I wasn't getting deadly bacteria and viruses in my new tank. So to kill all that stuff, I decided to boil it in some boiling water. Yeah.
Alright, it's been boiling for a little bit and it's probably killed all the bacteria and stuff. But I was thinking this kind of looks like soup, so I'm just gonna go and see if my mom will try and drink it or something. I don't know, let's see. I made some soup. Do you want to try it?
What kind of soup is it? It's dirt.
No, it's mushroom.
Okay. Is it really mushroom?
Yeah. No, like actually it is. You can just...
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's raw.
No.
Yeah, it is.
It's mushroom.
Okay, I guess it doesn't really look like soup. She didn't fall for it. Anyways, I added it in and then poured a layer of gravel on top. The floor was now finished, and next up was the decorations, which basically meant I was just gonna add some plants and stuff. Yeah. For the plants, I got a delivery that cost $100 from some aquarium website, and I got straight to planting them. First, I covered the whole top of the cave in this moss stuff to make it look like grass was growing on top. Then for the rest of the plants, I just, you know, put them around the aquarium, as you do. Finally, I scattered some rocks and wood around. I just, forgot to record that part, so just imagine this is footage of me doing that. Okay, the whole base of the tank is now complete, but this is honestly kinda average. Rocks, plants, you know, every aquarium has that. And I'm transforming this into the best aquarium to give justice to the poor frogs and fish, meaning I still have a lot of work to do. Next up on the list is to add custom technology in here that'll make the tank actually cool. And the first technology I got is this little water pump. And to show you what it does, let me fill the tank up with water, plug it in, and yeah, boy, it makes bubbles. Okay, maybe it's not that cool, but it is important to have this so oxygen can spread around the tank.
Nice.
Anyways, this next technology is actually cool. This is an automatic fish feeder. Basically, I just gotta set it up on the side, fill it up with all types of tasty food, and now I just press this button on the side and it'll drop food. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Or I can set it to be automatic every 12 or 24 hours. But there's no fish in here, so let me just take this food out so it doesn't get moldy and stuff. Okay, now for the third technology. This one is actually the coolest thing in the world. So basically, I was just wandering around Walmart yesterday and saw this little robo fish that apparently can swim around in the water by itself. That is too cool to pass up on. So of course, I bought half of their stock. And on the packaging, it says it even changes colors in the water. That's sick. But I don't really know how this works, so I guess I'll just press this button and, oh, the fins are moving. Okay, let me put this in the water. Wait, bro, look at this thing. This is actually pretty cool. Wait, I gotta get these other ones in here. Let's see. Okay, all the fish are in here, and this just looks like an aquarium now. I'm not even gonna lie. Bro, the actual fish are gonna be so confused when they see these ones in here. That is gonna be so funny. Anyways, for now, I'm gonna take them out, and later I'll be adding them back in with the live fish to see how the live fish react. Now, the final technology, and this, to be honest, isn't anything special. It's just a water filter and a water heater, which is just some basic necessities to make sure our fish and frogs are able to thrive. And speaking of those guys, it's almost time to see how they're gonna react to the new transformed tank. But before then, I'm gonna first add in some friends for them. And I've got a lot of stuff. The first species I added in was a bunch of ghost shrimp, which, you know, are shrimp. They clean up the tank and stuff. Thanks, guys. But actually, this is a pretty cool species because as you can see, they're kind of see-through. And because of that, you can literally see stuff inside of their body. Like this guy just ate some moss. And because of that, you can see some green inside of his body. Wow. The next species I added in was 2 new African dwarf frogs and 5 more coolie loaches. And yes, these are the same species of fish and frogs that were in the original tank. And that's because those species that we already have are all social animals, and it wasn't ideal to only have the 2 frogs and 1 fish that we started with. The final species I added in was some neon tetras, just because, well, they look cool and they swim around schools and they look cool. Yeah. Well, all the friends are added now, so of course it's time to add the original frogs and fish inside. Be free. Okay, well, that's kind of anticlimactic. Well, they're in here now, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna live an amazing life, so that's good. But now that it's transformed, this is the best part of the video, where I'll be doing stuff like seeing how the fish react to the robot fish, and also I'll even be hatching live prey from eggs to feed the frogs and fish some live food. And speaking of that live prey, let's get to hatching that now, because it's gonna take a little while to get those hatched. These are brine shrimp eggs, which to start the hatching process, we're basically gonna get a pot, throw a bunch of ingredients in there like a soup, and put in a heater, a light, and a pump. And yeah, basically these shrimp are gonna hatch in about a day, probably. I don't know if I set this up right, but I guess we'll see. In the meantime, I had to, of course, test out the robot fish in the aquarium, so, be free. Right after adding them, the first fish to encounter them was the little school of neon tetras. At first, they seemed pretty chill about it, just ignoring it and going about their normal life. That was until one of the robot fish started to rush at them at max speed, and, they all got extremely scared. One of the frogs was also chilling on top of the cave when another robot fish came swimming in towards them. Yeah, he was not gonna have any of that. But the thing is, most of the fish were inside of the cave, so I wasn't able to see their reaction. So, of course, I put all the robot fish inside of it. And, yeah, they kind of all got stuck, and I couldn't record any of the fish reactions because it was too dark. And since I couldn't even reach the robot fish to get them out, they're just gonna be a permanent addition to the cave. Nice. Anyways, I let a day pass so that I could come back to the brine shrimp eggs being hatched. And while it looked like 99% of the eggs hadn't hatched, if we zoom in a bunch on my bad quality iPhone camera, you can see thousands of little dots swimming around. Those are the brine shrimp. Listen, I didn't say they were gonna be big, okay? So I got my water sucker, sucked them up, and was ready to feed the fish. I first put a little bit of the shrimp right next to a lone neon tetra, and within seconds he started going crazy. It even attracted the attention of some of the other tetras, and soon multiple were sucking up all the tasty shrimp. Next up, I put some of the brine shrimp near a frog, and at first he seemed to not care, but then he started to, of course, devour them too. I guess these brine shrimps taste good. Dang. Finally, I put some of the brine shrimp near a coolie loach, and I was expecting this guy to start eating them too, but he kind of just, yeah, he just swam away into the darkness of a cave. Bruh. Well, even though I found this aquarium as a piece of garbage, I'm happy I was able to completely transform it and give a new home to the poor fish